This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Thursday. May never be unbanned on Twitch, Warlord. I'm sorry. Who fucking knows? Purgatorus, good evening. You made it with plenty of time left because you know I bullshit for about 20 minutes. Good evening, welcome. I'm going to have to redo the intro because I just noticed Charlie Kirk's face was behind the logo. Come on, Smokey. Let's say hi to everybody. DJ Dub. This is why I can never get anything done during the day. Flash! Keep trying to cancel me. Good evening, welcome. I ain't high enough for this shit. Speaking of being high, special Saturday edition of the Troll Patrol coming up 4 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. Just so happens to be 420. Just so happens to be the 4th anniversary of the Troll Patrol. That's right, the 4th 20 anniversary spectacular. Possibly on Saturday. There are we have a record on the anniversary show. Big news usually happens. There's a vote scheduled for Saturday in the House. Motion to vacate before then? Who knows? We're going to talk. Our good buddy Dan Crenshaw is going to tell us what he thinks about the motion to vacate the speakership. A clip of Mike Johnson. Oh yeah, the GOP farts. That's it. I was like, I got another story about Mike Johnson. Yeah, they have formed. The Freedom Caucus have formed a coalition and called themselves farts. I shit you not. It is the Freedom Caucus Alert Republican. I don't even remember what the acronym stands for, but it's farts. Apparently, they had this, I thought it was a Christian conference, but apparently it was a men's conference, but there was some asshole pastor that was part of the conference, and apparently he got really upset about a guy that wasn't doing a strip show, but is a stripper, was swallowing a sword. But not that kind of sword. It's a whole ordeal. Here is your meme of the day, and unfortunately, Libertad, good evening. I've been playing Far Cry 6. And Viva la Libertad. I think about you every time one of my compatriots yells that at me. Here's your meme of the day. Man, put them greens in her ass and let's go. I got places to be. Apparently this is this is a painting called Smuggling Okra. I sent it to a lady friend of mine, and within like 2 minutes, she's got the entire backstory. Clinically, well, we just shoving some okra into this woman's pantaloons, and for some reason, the guy on the right looks like Gary Glitter. I don't know why Gary Glitter keeps coming up on this show. Da, 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 da. Hey. Da, da, da. Warlord knows about Gary Glitter. Dude is wearing a shirt that looks like an accordion. This is not some sort of medieval painting. This is from 2007. And basically the backstory was the dude just thought it was funny. He just thought shoving okra in a woman's ass was funny. Now, if you are going to do butt stuff, I do have a piece of advice for you.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
I believe they let him out and then he ended up molesting a child again or something. Now he's back in. Yes. A rabid pedophile Mr. Glitter was. The song, like, no, I don't think anybody knows the name of the song because I don't know the name of the song. But it's the da 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 da, hey da da da. Yeah, that's another one of his big hits. We went over that with the whole Hulk Hogan thing. God damn it, DJ Dub. I knew it was called rock and roll, but I was just making a joke. Well, you think the dude that looks like Gary Glitter actually looks like Ricky? Sparkle's already, she has her eulogy for OJ and her bedtime story ready for this Saturday. Hey, Kanye ripped it off what? Kanye ripped off the okra in the ass? What? Also, I thought those were chilies. I guess I can kind of see okra now, but like, it looked like green chilies to me, not okra. Okra is a cousin of a green chili, perhaps? Also, I think I am convinced that one of the contributing factors to Kanye going off the deep end was Matt and Trey and the gay fish joke on South Park. And I didn't even know. Black Skinhead has a sample from rock and roll. I did not know that. That's crazy. So apparently, like, I didn't even realize the many times that Kanye has referenced South Park in his. I mean, like, you know, I've heard the songs, but it didn't really dawn on me how much the fish sticks joke really got to Kanye. And that's the thing that cracks me up. That's why that's my favorite episode of South Park, is the fact that Kanye legitimately doesn't get the joke and does exactly the same thing that the Kanye character in the episode does.
Like fish sticks, like you eat, or like a fish's actual penis. And it's like, and then Trey like turned around, he's like, has anybody ever made that joke? And he's like, who could be someone who doesn't have a sense of humor that we can make fun of? Who's the one person in the world who won't have a sense of humor? And in unison, we were like, Kanye West.
We make them say oh, cause the game's so pimpish. Choke a South Park writer with a fish stick.
Damn, South Park had them all laughing. Now all my niggas designing and we all swagging. Ignore the critics, it's the same.
I love that song. That song's good.
Fashion show, motherfucker, we living.
That beat.
The most racist thing a person could tell me is that I'm supposed to choose something based on my race. If that was the case, I wouldn't have never wore a pink polo. I wouldn't have never wear skinny jeans. Everywhere I go, people pants smaller than mine. And I'm the one who, you eat fish sticks because I have skinny jeans on.
South Park had jokes about fish sticks. To this day, the whole team could kiss this stick.
See, it really bothered him. That's hilarious. And that's why I love Matt and Trey so fucking much. I don't know how I got on a whole Game of Thrones conversation with a friend. And I was like, I can't watch Game of Thrones because all that wiener, 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 wiener. So I actually looked up George R.R. Martin and his thoughts on South Park, and he took it in stride. Like, he was into it. He thought it was funny. So, like, mad respect. His only thing was, like, he said he wasn't a wiener guy. He was a booby guy. So he took issue with that. So cool on George R.R. Martin for being cool with the South Park jokes. Cause I love it when people make fun of me. I don't know, but one time when I was working at a TV station, I was floor director, and I guess a whole bunch of bullshit had been going on in the booth. I had no clue. Like, I'm out on the floor with the anchors and shit. Like, we were cutting up. We always used to talk about like 90s music and shit, like in between commercials. But I guess like things were going to shit in the booth that day. And I'm going around, I'm handing out the format for the show, like, 10 minutes before we go on, or 5 minutes before we go on, whatever. Like, that's when you hand out the rundown. And I see the director in the hallway, and I'm just like, do, and I say something to him, and he mocked everybody like in the booth, so I just assumed when I was off he was mocking me like this. But he said it to me in like a voice that sounded like me, and like my pitch and intonation and everything, and I fell on the floor fucking laughing. And because I love it when people mock me well, not like the dumb fucks on Twitter. They're not very good at it, but when people mock me well, I'm so into it. I think it's hilarious. So I would enjoy it if South Park mocked me. Alas, I am too small fry for them. Anyway, what are we going to be talking about tonight? A lot of stabbings. There are a lot of stabbings on the show tonight. Sparkles, Sparkles love a good stabby stab. We got video of a bishop in Sydney getting stabbed just days after the stabbing at was it a mall? It was like a mega mall kind of deal in Sydney. 2 school children in France have been stabbed. We're going to talk about a famous stabbing here in the United States, the case of Ryan Kohberger. The defense introduced his alibi for the night that 4 Idaho college students were stabbed. Speaking of college, some shit went down at Columbia College earlier today. I'm probably still going down. We might have to get an update on exactly what's going on as protests broke out on campus. Police descended on the campus, tearing apart a shanty town they had built, an encampment. Meanwhile, the president of Columbia was grilled by Republicans in the House. Protesters shut down the Golden Gate Bridge yet again. I think this is multiple days in a row. Google employees protesting Google's Project Nimbus because of a contract with Israel. Horrific news coming out of Gaza as children are being targeted by Israeli snipers. Meanwhile, we have reports that drones are playing the sound of babies and women crying in order to lure people out in order to kill them. Insane. The FAA grounded Alaska Airlines flights. Alaska Airlines was the one where the door flew off a few weeks back, wasn't it? India getting ready to hold elections. Narendra Modi almost certainly going to be reelected. Indonesia under a tsunami alert following a volcano eruption. Bomb threats in New Jersey shut down multiple schools today. Speaking of shutting down a school, teacher was arrested after getting caught inside of a car undressed with a student. Shoppers at a Target held down a peeping Tom until law enforcement arrived. Get your tense correct, Justin. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. The jury has been seated. I figured it would take a lot longer than this, so good on the judge. Even things in order. Jury seated in the Donald Trump hush money payments trial. Amazingly enough, even after Jesse Waters did his best to try to tamper with the jury. Trump spoke earlier today. We're going to hear from him. Trump's attorney, or former attorney, I don't think he's retaining her any longer, Alina Habba, apparently doesn't know much about the law. Trump receiving an endorsement from former Prime Minister Liz Truss, who could not outlast the lettuce. House Speaker Mike Johnson being compared to Liz Truss because he probably won't outlast the lettuce either. We're going to talk about the controversy at NPR. An editor went and wrote a stupid piece for the Barry Weiss, I don't even remember what it's called, Freedom something or other rag. I've got a former managing editor, I believe, writing a piece in Slate that's going to give us the inside into what's really going on inside of NPR. Matt Walsh is upset about women's basketball player Caitlin Clark. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. You have to pay attorneys to keep them. They are not quite done with jury selection just yet. We still have to seat, I think, 4 more alternates unless they seated a couple more tonight before they dismissed. 1 had been seated. They need to get to 6. So we'll see what's going on. Good evening. Welcome. In case you missed the meme of the day, let me grab that again. Go over the fantastical story behind this meme of Gary Glitter pouring okra into a woman's pantaloons. Yeah, I'm sorry. All of that, all the real political stuff is towards the end of the show. I'm sorry. Trump and Jesse Waters and all that. That's gonna be hours from now. We're starting off with foreign affairs, moving into crime, then we do the politics. Just to give you an idea of where we're going tonight. I hate having to talk about Israel all the time. I don't want to, but like you gotta address it. It's a bummer. I don't want to talk about it, but you can't ignore it. It's a privilege to ignore it. But I assume, well, the judge did today request that the media not kill us. The judge asked that the media not release any of their answers to the questions as to hopefully avoid that, but I assume there's going to be right-wing media in there. Trump's attorneys will leak things to the media. It's going to be a shit show. Apparently the meme is called smuggling okra. Smuggling okra. Get them greens in her ass. I'm still getting over the bronchitis, apparently. That's why I'm not on the bong tonight. Gonna try to be in tip-top shape to hit the bong come Saturday. It is the 4th 20 anniversary spectacular. Please join us Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern. I've been working really, really hard on the whole setup. I'm proud of it. Curiouser got to see the new intro and everything. And if you keep hounding me, I'll break it out. I hit it last night when I was playing. I've been playing Lego 2K with my buddy. Pretty fun game. I've enjoyed it. Let's get to the news, shall we? Clinically, did I tell you hi? I saw you come in. I don't know if I gave you a what's up. Did I greet everybody properly? Warlord, I'm so glad to see you here tonight. I know you try to give me a hard time. You make me smile. What doesn't make me smile is fascism here in the United States as police shut down protest. Republicans doing a witch hunt in the House. So we're going to Columbia University in New York. Pro-Palestinian protesters, anti-genocide protesters, I would call them, arrested by police.
Dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters at Columbia University have been arrested after setting up tents on campus.
The university's president saying she called the NYPD after multiple attempts to try and get these students to leave. Fox 5 Jessica Formoso live at Columbia with the very latest there. Jess,
what were the students doing? It was a peaceful protest? Is that it?
Natasha, tense moments here throughout the day at Columbia University. As you're hearing behind me, this is a pro-Palestinian rally. They are chanting things like Free Palestine. We also heard them verbally attack the NYPD, calling them the KKK.
Well,
inside the campus, about an hour ago, we saw another big rally, but this was both sides, pro-Israel and pro-Palestine. Now, let's look at this video from yesterday and today. Now, this is day 2 of what protesters are calling Gaza Solidarity Encampment protest.
I don't understand what a pro-Israel protest is. What are they pro? Like, these people are protesting their tax dollars being used to fund a genocide. They are protesting the human rights violations that Israel is committing. What exactly are pro-Israeli protesters protesting? I don't get it. Are there any hostages left at this point? Hamas has come out like one of the things that they had to, like, 30-something hostages that met a certain humanitarian criteria, women, children, and they didn't have enough. So I'm doubting there are very many hostages left at this point. I condemn. Venus, good evening.
The NYPD was called to campus by the president of Columbia University to begin clearing out the encampment from the South Lawn that had been set up by students in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Pro-Palestinian protesters calling it the liberated zone. There were a number of arrests made this afternoon. It's unclear at this hour why these students were arrested and how many were arrested. These particular protests started yesterday after the president of Columbia testified on Capitol Hill about the handling of anti-Semitism on campus. The president of Columbia saying in a statement that she had to take extraordinary steps because these are extraordinary circumstances. She went on to say that the encampment violated a long list of rules and policies. She tried numerous times to speak with organizers, but says all attempts failed. Now, here is a statement from her. It reads in part, "I regret that all of these attempts to resolve the situation were rejected by the students involved. As a result, the NYPD officers are now on campus." And as you're seeing now on your screen, we have seen heavy police presence all afternoon, officers in riot gear standing guard. Now, you're about to hear from 2 protesters on both sides.
It's honestly disappointing that it has to go to the hands of students, risking their careers, their lives, and suspension for money. A university they put money into to have to come to this. But human rights, you have to fight for them, I guess, in this country.
Do you support Hamas? People should be able to engage in a healthy debate.
Oh my God! Fuck you! a healthy debate as you're saying, do you support Hamas? Do you support Hamas? That's not a healthy debate, motherfucker. That is as bad faith as you get. So go ahead, go fuck yourself.
Walking around and just yelling at people and yelling your opinions, which are quite inflammatory, but not actually engaging in a debate, it's kind of the indication that you're not really solid in your beliefs.
And as we're coming back,
Like, I'm not wrong there. Like, that, he did exactly what he just said, right? Notice how they start with the footage of him. Do you support Hamas?
This country.
Do you support Hamas? People should be able to engage in a healthy debate. Walking around and just yelling at people and yelling your opinions, which are quite inflammatory, but not actually engaging in a debate, it's kind of the indication that you're not really solid in your beliefs.
I don't think you're very solid in your beliefs, sir.
and as we're coming back to you guys live here, another situation on the street blocking traffic. Protesters have moved over, and I see
Justin, good evening.
Man standing there on the corner as well. So again, Teresa, Natasha, things are really getting tense by the minute as we speak. Of course, we'll bring you another live update at 6 p.m. That's the latest I have here from outside of Columbia University. I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
All right, Jessica.
So yeah, that was just a couple of hours ago. Let me see if I can get you possibly a live shot of what is going on Columbia currently. We're back. YouTube is really fucking with me, you know, because the ad blocker and shit. Greatly appreciate that, YouTube. Do not want Coachella. We do not want Timcast with Dinesh D'Souza. See if NBC News is on the scene. I don't know why they're covering DeSantis. No, not seeing anything current. CNN reporting over 100 people arrested. NBC News reporting 108 50 minutes ago. Once again, this is an ongoing situation happening at Columbia currently. Representative Ilhan Omar's daughter, Isra Hersey, was among those arrested. This isn't much more current than we just watched. Lester Holt.
Police in riot gear moving in to clear an encampment of students protesting the war in Gaza. Dozens arrested. Antonia Hilton is there. Antonia, describe the scene for us.
We're up to 108 now, apparently, at least.
Press isn't being allowed on campus. So what you're seeing here are protests that have spilled over to the public streets. Protests that, as you can see, appear to be far from over.
Confrontation at Columbia today.
Yeah, so that once again, this is, I was trying to get you like a current live shot because this is still going on, but she was live as of 6 o'clock.
Police are moving protesters from campus, citing extraordinary circumstances. Columbia University President Manoush Shafiq called in the NYPD to clear an encampment of pro-Palestinian student demonstrators. The encampment set up Wednesday morning, the same day Shafiq testified on Capitol Hill about anti-Semitism on campus.
We must uphold freedom of speech because it's essential to our academic mission, but we cannot and shouldn't tolerate abuse of this privilege to harass and discriminate.
In a letter to the university community, Shafiq noted, protests have a storied history at Columbia, where
They are not backing down currently. They regrouped after being removed. And they are circling the perimeter of Columbia, marching. This is according to Talia Jane about 15 minutes ago.
Vietnam demonstrators took over buildings on campus in 1968. But in asking for help from the police, she said, the encampment and related disruption
Richard, good evening.
Clear and present danger to the substantial functioning of the university.
We are risking our academic standing just to show the administrators that we are not okay with their decisions.
Several demonstrators today stomping on an Israeli flag. Some students saying they feel unsafe on campus.
I feel as though
fuck you.
People are kind of weaponizing anti-Semitism.
Oh yeah, he's right.
Demonstrators telling us they
sorry, I jumped the gun there.
Plan to keep their protests going despite the police presence.
Do you feel like this
mitochondria
clamp down on students and faculty members' free speech?
100% yes, I do believe that.
New York City's mayor tonight saying police made more than 100 arrests on a campus severely divided. Antonia Hilton, NBC News, New York.
I'll bring you the latest video I can find. This is from Talia Jane. About 15 minutes ago. Once again, the students were removed from... I did what? Talia does great work. So they reconvene. They're now marching around the perimeter. There you see the NYPD. Oh, they didn't get bailed out. Those were like the remaining students they forced off of campus. They reorganized after their peers were arrested. They could not have been bailed out that fast. Remember, this is all happening currently. That video was from, 15, 20 minutes ago. Trying to find anything. Okay, the New York Times has live updates, so they're still saying at least 108 protesters arrested. If this is a live shot, possibly. More than 100 students were arrested. The president's decision swiftly sharpened tensions on campus, which has been battered for months by boisterous pro-Palestinian demonstrations that many Jewish people regarded as anti-Semitic. And it stood to become a milestone for the country as campuses have been torn by the Israel-Hamas war and grappled with how to manage protests. What was far less clear was whether the harsher tactics would form an updated playbook for officials struggling to calm restive campuses or do little besides infuriate and inflame. Protesters had already promised that any effort to dismantle the encampment would only embolden them. Dr. Shafik's message arrived as swarms of New York City police officers clad in riot gear and bearing zip ties marched on the encampment of about 50 tents that had sprung up earlier in the week. On Thursday, protesters clutched Palestinian flags, demonstrators sat huddled on the ground, and a thicket of onlookers kept watch as officers bore down on the tents in the zone that had styled itself as the Gaza Solidarity Encampment. We'll see if we can check in on this here in just a little bit. One of the things that stoked the flames on campus was the fact that Columbia's president testified in front of the House, got grilled by Republicans yesterday. This is Representative Burgess Owens talking about a rabid anti-Semitic professor to the president of Columbia University.
Thank you. Mr. Owens, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Back in December, I made a statement that I've seen this movie before, and that seems like it's not changed. I grew up in the Deep South, 1960s, days of KKK, Jim Crow, and segregation. My first exposure to white Americans wasn't until I was 16 years old. I was one of 4 black athletes. Integrated formerly all-white high school, and remember vividly the morning after Martin Luther King's assassination, walking to our high school courtyard and seeing spray painted on the wall in red, "Ding dong, the king is dead." Let's fast forward to the experience of 2024. If I came to Columbia campus, what would be the response if members of my race were harassed by KKK bigots, mocked, called an N-word, spit upon, hit with a stick, ostracized? Would these same bigots and racists be allowed to protest at Columbia's campus spewing anti-black hate speech? And instead of wearing the white KKK hoods, would these cowards be granted free speech status as they hid their faces behind black masks and full head scarves? At a total cost of $90,000 per year.
There is so much wrong with what he just said.
A tenured Columbia professor, while discussing the past events of a massacre of black men and women and children, black girls being raped and black men being lynched, would speak in glowing terms of this event as stunning, awesome, and astonishing. President, I'd like to ask you, would this treatment of black Americans be tolerated for one second?
I can go ahead and tell you this is a false equivalency. He's trying to equate it to the October 7th attack. It is a emotive argument. There's so much wrong with this.
Second.
What you've described, Congressman, is completely unacceptable. I, too, grew up in the South in the 1960s and share that experience.
So yes or no, would this be tolerated for 1 second?
I beg your pardon?
Would this be tolerated, this treatment of black Americans for 1 second on Columbia's campus?
Absolutely not. And
okay.
I
just want to continue this because if this would not be tolerated for blacks, why has it been for months and years? We talk about a professor who goes back 20 years now. This guy has been around a long time. So why is it that Jewish Americans can then be treated?
Perhaps he's not anti-Semitic, and you're weaponizing the term
by these bigots and bullies in this manner.
It is not tolerated, and it is not acceptable. And over the last 6 months, we have done everything we can and have worked tirelessly to improve our policies.
Okay, let me just say this real quickly. Let me tell you why I think these two standards are prevalent. At Columbia's the core teaching values are DEI and CRT, which are racist and anti-Semitic teachings of Marxism. The racist beliefs are that blacks are hopeless, weak, and oppressed race that needs protection and pity of the white race.
So the professor in question is Joseph Masad. They take issue with his use of the word awesome in a piece describing the scenes from the day of the attack, though not the attack itself. Once again, as Republicans often do, taking it out of context. In the piece, Masad also said the sight of the Palestinian resistance fighters storming Israeli checkpoints separating Gaza from Israel was astounding. Apparently, the president claimed that Masad was spoken to and reprimanded. Masad said there was no disciplinary action taken. This is a witch hunt. He writes often for the Middle East Eye and Al Jazeera. author of multiple books, Islam and Liberalism and Colonial Effects. I can't get the exact quote, though. But apparently it was not describing the attack as awesome.
Anti-Semitic beliefs are that Jewish race are the
Seriously, Venus.
race, and that all minorities need to be
This is Representative Burgess Owens.
protection from them, and therefore hated. If you ever wonder why the heinous crimes of October 7th never moved the needle of empathy at Columbia, this is why. I personally think that it takes a true lowlife, repugnant human being to make the statement that the massacre of innocent men and women and children, the raping of girls, the beheading of children, the burning alive of human beings was stunning, awesome, and astonishing.
That's not what he said, apparently. Now, I can't get the exact quote. But that's fucking hard to find for some reason. I want to know exactly what he said. Hard to find a source here. Let's go to the New York Post. See, once again, ranging from a politics professor who declared that the October 7th terror attack on Israel was awesome. That's the only quote. I do not believe you if the only word you're using is awesome. I want the exact quote. Joseph Mossad responds to fabrications. Here we go. Get the real story. On April 17th, Mishush Stefak, I'm fucking her name up, the president of Columbia University appeared before the House Committee on Education and the Workforce. 3 professors were singled out for vitriol and smears. Catherine Frankie, Mohammed Abdu, and the world-renowned scholar Joseph Mossad. Instead of defending the academic freedom of her faculty from what the American Association of University Professors is calling a new strain of McCarthyism in the U.S., Stefik threw them under the bus. A particular focus of the attacks on Mossad, who teaches modern Arab politics and intellectual history, was an article he wrote for the Electronic Intifada on the 8th of October titled Just Another Battle or the Palestinian War of Liberation. For months, Israel supporters have misquoted and misrepresented the article in an attempt to smear Mossad and by extension Columbia. And Wednesday's hearing was no exception. However, instead of defending Mossad's right to free speech and correcting lawmakers' lies, Stefik joined the attacks. I do condemn his statement.
Be condemned.
I'm appalled by what he said, she said in response to a question from Representative Tim Walberg. He has been spoken to. Stefik also claimed that Mossad was no longer chairing an academic review committee at Columbia. Mossad has issued this statement in response to media inquiries, and the Electronic Intifada is publishing it in full. I have not watched the TV coverage nor seen a full transcript of the ongoing congressional interrogation of Columbia University officials, but I have received video clips of some of the testimony that related to me personally. Based on what I have seen, I can say the following. The members of Congress who interrogated President Stefik deliberately misrepresented my article published on October 8th when Representative Walberg claimed that I praised the innovative Palestinian resistance for attacking Israel and glorifying Hamas's slaughter of nearly 1,200 Jews as, and I quote again, awesome, astonishing, astounding, and incredible. I certainly said nothing of the sort. My article explicitly states the stunning victory of the Palestinian resistance over the Israeli military on the first day of fighting in a historic event both for Israel, as Netanyahu admitted, and for Palestinians. The article explicitly states that the sight of the Palestinian resistance fighters storming Israeli checkpoints separating Gaza from Israel was astounding, not only to the Israelis but especially to the Palestinian and Arab peoples. That the resistance's remarkable takeover of Israeli military bases and checkpoints has both shaken Israeli society and struck Palestinians and Arabs as incredible. Incredible, incidentally, means hard to believe. and that no less astonishing was the Palestinian resistance takeover of several Israeli settler colonies near the Gaza boundary, and even as far away as 22 kilometers, as in the case of Fuckum. You do it and you'll clean it up. I describe the use of motorized hang gliders as innovative. What can motorized paragliders do in the face of one of the most formidable militaries in the world, apparently much in the hands of an innovative Palestinian resistance? I also spoke in the article of the horrifying human toll on all sides. It is unfortunate the President Stefik and the two members of the Columbia University Board of Trustees, including Miss Claire Shipman and Mr. David Greenwald, would condemn fabricated statements that I never made, when all three of them should have corrected the record to show I never said or wrote such reprehensible statements. Also, the false and defamatory allegations which Representative Tim Walberg made against me, alleging that I gave support for terrorism, engaged in harassing Jewish students, should also have immediately been responded to by President Shafik. I said Shafik, and the trustees as false, as I have never harassed any of my students and never supported terrorism. So, if you guys want to read the actual article that Joseph Massad published on October 8th, it is in the chat. You can read it for yourself, instead of hearing this asshole misquote him.
But what truly speaks volumes is the moral compass of Columbia, that this rabid anti-Semite is still on your payroll today. He's gotten cocky, and for 20 years he's done the same thing. It's just a little tip of the iceberg of what's going on there and what's being taught in our classes.
Absolutely, there are Jewish students.
A Jewish student. It is impossible to exist as a Jewish student at Columbia.
One of the largest protest groups that we have seen has been Jewish Voices for Peace, protesting on behalf of Palestinians.
Without running face first into anti-Semitism every single day. Jew hatred is so deeply embedded into the campus culture, it has become casual among students, faculty, and neglected by administrators. Do you agree with this statement, President?
I have met those students and heard those words in the listening sessions that I've been holding. I believe in leadership by presence and walking around, and I have listened to those students, and it has distressed me hugely.
Let me just, I'm sorry, I hate to cut you off. I just have a few seconds here. Let me tell you what my major concern is. Thousands of Columbia students coming from countries that hate America and the other democracy in that region, Israel. How does this work? International students paying total of $90,000.
Israel is not a democracy.
Up front, skip
it's an
class,
apartheid state.
Bully Americans, burn American flags, stop traffic in our countries as they shout death to America. In some kind of way, they still get a degree. I think most of us, unless they're genius, most of us spend 100% of our time trying to pass our courses, particularly $90,000 per year. I'm running out of time. I'll just say this. I'd like to know how many of these folks are actually graduating.
Representative Burgess Owens.
To come to our campus and bully our kids the way they are right now. And with that,
of Utah.
Thank you. Mrs. Hayes, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes, that's one of the things that these idiots don't realize. Thank you, Libertad, for bringing that up. The people of Gaza are Semitic people. It's one of the things that, like, you call a Palestinian anti-Semitic, kind of shows you're a fucking idiot.
I'd like to start, before I get into my questions, by saying that I am a woman of deep personal faith. And my faith forces me
Fuck your faith.
The faith of others. So the injection of biblical theology into this committee hearing is inappropriate. But if we were to talk about that, I would say that my faith is used as a shield to protect others and not a sword to hate or harm others. I guess I call myself a Matthew 25 Christian. But there's a few things that I would like to...
A Matthew 25 Christian.
This is clear up before I get into my...
This is not the only reference to Matthew you're going to get tonight. A certain pastor is going to get Matthew 18'd before we are done with the show. But something's going on in this country. Like people are not laying down and taking this lightly, and that's fucking cool. At least, if there's some good to come out of this, the fact that it seems to be bringing the left together. Hopefully we keep this anger, this righteous anger, going forward. Protesters blocking the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, I think, for several days now.
Francisco's district attorney is asking for the public's help tonight. This is all about the demonstrators arrested on Monday during protests on the Golden Gate Bridge.
The DA is considering false imprisonment charges, but to make those charges stick, she needs evidence from the drivers.
Wow.
Here's NBC's Sergio Quintana.
This was dealing with Monday, not ongoing protests.
26 people arrested for Monday's Golden Gate Bridge protest were released from the San Francisco jail yesterday pending further investigation. Supporters had rallied most of the day calling for their release, but quickly tried to block them from view by the media as soon as they saw the light of day. During the protest, organizers shared videos of their efforts to bring traffic to a halt for as long as possible, including using participants who sat in parked cars. The result? A 4-hour halt to the commute on the bridge that left drivers frozen in place. That's why the CHP has charged the protesters with false imprisonment, and why San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins had this request for bystanders who were stuck on the bridge.
This is an active and open investigation. Anyone who was falsely imprisoned on the Golden Gate Bridge on April 15th, 2024 is urged to contact the California
Holy shit.
Brooke Jenkins recognizes that there is a right to free speech, but at the same time, you have to do that in a lawful way. And I think by saying that she wants people to come forward, she wants community involvement in this prosecution.
But legal analyst Steve...
Oh, you're probably right, DJ Dub. This is your next Kamala Harris.
Stephen Clark says the DA isn't just trying to respond to a frustrated public. Under California's Marcy's law, victims of crimes can be awarded damages by people who were convicted or pled to those crimes.
So if there is a conviction or another diversion agreement, Marcy's law will be able to provide restitution to anyone who suffered economic loss as a result of those protests on the...
Well, that's one of the things that I was going to point out. It's like those protesters know that. The goal with protests like that is usually to get arrested, to cause a scene, to make people's lives inconvenient, to raise awareness of the situation.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Following protests on the Bay Bridge during APEC last year, a plea deal required the 78 people who were arrested in that event to pay restitution. But only one victim stepped forward to be part of that case. It's not yet clear how many people have contacted the California Highway Patrol.
Good.
Losses from Monday's protests. In San Francisco, Sergio Quintana, NBC Bay Area News.
Snitches get stitches.
District attorneys involved in Monday's protest, Brooke Jenkins in San Francisco and Pamela Price in Alameda County, handling those protesters who were arrested for the 880 shutdowns. DA Price releasing this statement today. It reads in part, while my office supports the essential right to protest, it is important to note that public safety should never be compromised in exercising the First Amendment right of free speech guaranteed under the U.S. Constitution.
Keep shutting it down. More protests. Google employees are protesting Google's contract with Israel, refusing to work on their Project Nimbus. Google employees are staging sit-ins and protests at company offices in New York and California over Project Nimbus. Was it Mr. Nimbus from Rick and Morty? He controlled the cops. Sorry. I'll move on. A cloud contract with Israel's government as the country's war with Hamas continues. Make this a little bigger. Reading from Wired magazine, dozens of Google employees began occupying company offices in New York City and Sunnyvale, California on Tuesday and protested the company's $1.2 billion contract providing cloud computing services to the Israeli government. The sit-in, organized by the activist group No Tech for Apartheid, is happening at Google Cloud CEO Thomas Kurian's office in Sunnyvale and the 10th floor Commons of Google's New York office. The sit-in will be accompanied by outdoor protests at Google offices in New York, Sunnyvale, San Francisco, and Seattle, beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific. I guess that was today? I think this article was posted today? No, this was 2 days ago. The sit-in, organized by the activist group I already did that. Tuesday's action marked an escalation in a series of recent protests organized by tech workers who oppose their employees or their employers' relationship with the Israeli government, especially in light of Israel's ongoing assault on Gaza. Since Hamas killed about 1,100 Israelis on October 7th, the IDF has killed more than 34,000 Palestinians, a number that is not been updated in months now. Just over a dozen people gathered outside Google's offices in New York and Sunnyvale on Tuesday. Among those in New York was Google's cloud software engineer Eddie Hatfield, who was fired days after disrupting Google's Israel's managing director at March's Mind the Tech, a company-sponsored conference focused on the Israeli tech industry, in early March. Several hours into the sit-ins on Tuesday, Google security began to accuse the workers of trespassing and disrupting work, prompting several people to leave while others vowed to remain until they were forced out. The 2021 contract, known as Project Nimbus, involves Google and Amazon jointly providing cloud computing infrastructure and services across branches of the Israeli government. Last week, Time reported that Google's work on Project Nimbus involves providing direct services to the IDF. No Tech for Apartheid is a coalition of tech workers and organizers with Empower Change and Jewish Voice for Peace. Now, just in case there's anybody in the audience that might be wondering, why are we protesting Israel? What's so wrong with Israel? Content warning on this one. This is absolutely disgusting. Doctors say children have been targeted by Israeli snipers in Gaza. The IDF says it completely rejects the charge that its soldiers deliberately fired on any of the Israeli offensives. I think I'll take the word of the doctors. Dr. Fozia Alvi was making her rounds of the intensive care unit on her final day at the battered European Public Hospital in southern Gaza when she stopped next to two young arrivals with facial injuries and breathing tubes in their windpipes. I asked the nurse, "What's the history?" She said that they were brought in a couple of hours ago. They had sniper shots to the brain. They were 7 and 8 years old. 7 or 8 years old. Canadian doctor's heart sank. These were not the first children treated by Alvi, who she was told were targeted by Israeli soldiers, and she knew the damage a single high-caliber bullet could do to a fragile young body. They were not able to talk, paraplegic. They were literally lying down as vegetables on those beds. They were not the only ones. I saw even small children with direct sniper shot wounds to the head as well as in the chest. They were not combatants. They were small children. Children account for more than 1 in 3 of the more than 32,000 people killed. That number has to be like close to 60,000. I suspect the 32,000 was an undercount to begin with. Tens of thousands more young people have suffered severe injuries, including amputations. May very well be, Venus. Fucking heartbreaking. By the way, I've already put the show together for Saturday. I've got quite the show planned. No hard news on Saturday unless something breaks and we have to cover it. All fun stories. Kinda. I mean, I don't know. Guy getting taken hostage inside a weed store is kind of harrowing. Probably not the funnest story, but it's the kind of shit we like. Oh, we are moving on. It's not even a war. What Israel is doing is not a war. I hate I hate news organizations that frame it as a war. The United States is at war with our airline industry, apparently. The fuckers are trying to kill us. I can't imagine that I will ever fly on a plane ever again. An hour-long nationwide ground stop advisory for Alaska Airlines was issued yesterday by the FAA. Alaska Airlines asked the FAA to pause the airline's mainline departures nationwide, the FAA told the National Desk in an email. In an advisory, FAA's Air Traffic Control System Command Center noted all Alaska mainline and subcarrier flights were impacted by the ground stop. Out of abundance of caution, we requested a ground stop for all Alaska and Horizon flights, which was instituted at approximately 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. The issue was mitigated, and the ground stop for Alaska and Horizon flights expired at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Alaska Airlines noted in a statement, "We have begun releasing flights. Residual delays are expected throughout the day. We apologize for the inconvenience and encourage guests to check the status of their flights on alaskaair.com." The FAA later said operations are normal. In January, a door plug panel blew off a 737 MAX jetliner during an Alaska Airlines flight as the plane was flying 16,000 feet over Oregon. I am never flying again. Absolutely, I won't go to Europe. Well, I got a boat over there or some shit. I want to go to India. I am dying to go to India because I love Indian food, and you can't really get good Indian food in Appalachia. So my ass would really like to go to India. A mosque in the Hindu Holy Land is at the center of a dispute as India prepares to vote. There is tension between the Hindu population and the Muslim population in India.
Sohan Lal Arya is in the fight of his life. The 72-year-old is one of dozens of activists in the Indian city of Varanasi who want to turn its oldest mosque into a Hindu temple. Arya has been petitioning the courts to do it for 4 decades.
This temple is very important for the Hindu religion, especially because for thousands of years it has been the place of our Lord of Lords, our beloved Lord Shiva.
So I know nothing about what's going on, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume this is like the Indian Jerusalem. Apparently 2 different religions lay claim to a temple, and it causes some bullshit. Fuck all your religions.
The battle over Gyanvapi Mosque is symbolic of the tension between Hindus and Muslims in India as the country holds the world's biggest election. Nearly 1 billion people will be eligible to vote. Opinion polls predict an easy win for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Hindu nationalist BJP party, which would hand him a rare 3rd straight term. Muslim advocates accuse his party of discrimination and imposing laws that interfere with their faith. Modi denies it.
He's just a shit stirrer.
Violence between both sides. About 14% of the population is Muslim. The Varanasi site is not the only contested ground. In January, Modi opened a temple to the Hindu Lord Ram in Ayodhya. It was built on the site of a 16th century mosque that was destroyed by a Hindu mob in 1992, claiming it was the birthplace of the god king. Arya was there. He remembers it fondly and even has a brick from the mosque. Nationwide riots over the dispute left 2,000 people dead, mostly Muslims. As for Gianvapi, in late January, a court ruled that Hindu priests can pray on part of it. The mosque is just next door to Varanasi's largest and holiest Hindu temple. But that's not enough for Arya. He says he has no ill will towards Muslims, but he wants the mosque raised and is hoping another win for Modi could bolster his case.
Absolutely, we are fully hopeful that the forthcoming government will take care of the sentiments of all Hindus, will be sensitive to the feelings of all followers of the Hindu faith across the world, and will build a magnificent temple.
78-year-old Saeed Mohammed Yassin is determined to make sure that does not happen. Like Arya, he's also fighting, but on the other side, to prevent the mosque's demolition.
Court cases से फाइल
Yassin has the stacks of court files to prove it.
ऐसा है जब उस समय जो वाकया हुआ था
What happened then was really bad.
तमाम
Everything was wrong. There were riots in so many places. But what they are doing now,
they are coming through court.
India's general election is being held from April to June in 7 stages. Yassin says a Modi win could complicate things, but he's determined to fight until the bitter end.
so far, we are going by the law.
आगे
Let us see how this goes further on. We have our backs to the wall. You know what happens when you're pushed up against the wall. Either you die or you stand up.
उसके बाद फिर खड़े होने के अलावा कुछ चारा नहीं.
Results in the vote are expected on June 4th.
Well, I love this optimistic outlook. Thousands of people have been ordered to evacuate from Indonesia as a volcanic eruption has triggered a tsunami alarm. Epilepsy alert. Those are lightning strikes as a volcano is erupting. That's what I was getting ready to say. Like, there are religions warring for thousands of years. We've also got to think about the, Turkish Empire was still in place up until World War I.
It's
more
one
video
of
of
the most
this.
geologically active regions in the world, and it's coming alive again. A volcano in Indonesia, it started to erupt.
The images of this,
I mean,
some people are questioning on Twitter, I saw, is this AI or is this real? That's just the day and age we're in. Is it AI or is it real? But yeah, 5 large eruptions have occurred on Indonesia's Mount Ruang volcano, shooting lava, as you can see, and that's about 70,000 feet in the sky. It's very tall. It's heightened plenty of concerns of spreading ash and falling rocks, forcing hundreds of evacuations. Indonesia even triggered a tsunami alert due to how dangerous the situation could become. This is the same area that got devastated when the same volcano erupted back in 1871.
so it does happen. I mean, it's been a minute, 1871. There are different types of volcanic eruptions, too. And, I mean, no greater country to talk about that than maybe Iceland, because that has been in our purview over the past few months. But the eruption here in Indonesia, it's offered some extraordinary sights. This does, Marissa, it looks like an AI rendering. When you see the frequent flashes of lightning, maybe a painting. During one of the recent explosive eruptions, lightning was observed. Nearly 4,000 strikes, in fact. Those have been counted. It's not a phenomenon, though, that's seen with all eruptions.
I said Turkish Empire. I meant Ottoman.
Super uncommon either.
Right. I think if you can witness it from afar,
I'm
it is
getting old.
quite impressive to take in. It's kind of
I feel like I'm losing it.
but in this case, you have that volcanic ash. You
Yeah.
get that friction above, and that can trigger some of that lightning.
Yeah.
And in this case, there was no shortage.
At least 5 eruptions since Tuesday night. So millions? No, hundreds. Really overshot it there with millions, didn't I? Hundreds evacuated. Let's go down under, shall we? We go from Asia down under to Australia. Guess I should probably hit the content warning for this. Last time I was with you guys, we watched a video of a stabbing in Australia. 8 people died at a mall in Australia. Just days later, a bishop was attacked during Sunday service.
When he entered the temple,
sound like he got him good, didn't it?
Again, the chief priests and the elders of the people approached the Lord and said, yesterday, by whose authority did you do that? Who gave you the authority to overthrow the tables and kick people out and say, my house is the house of prayer, and you've turned it into a den of thieves? We know and believe this temple is the temple of God. Are you God to claim it to be yours?
Yeah. That's the story. Bishop Mari Emanuel said in a video message on Facebook he is recovering quickly and urged the community to remain calm and not retaliate. He was attacked on Monday at the Assyrian Church, the Good Shepherd Church, at the Assyrian Christ, the Good Shepherd Church in Sydney. A 16-year-old boy has been arrested over the incident in which at least 4 people, including another cleric, the Reverend Isaac Royale, we call a quarter pounder with cheese in Europe. We call it an Isaac Royale with cheese. Were injured and police are. I ain't going to Burger King. I'm sorry. As a terror incident, an online video appeared to show Bishop Emanuel being repeatedly stabbed in the head and upper body during the church service, which was streamed online. In the footage, members of the congregation screamed and rushed to stop the attack. In his video message posted on Wednesday, Bishop Emanuel said he is doing fine. I forgive whoever has done this act. I will always love you. And I will always pray for you. And whoever sent you to do this, I forgive them as well in Jesus' mighty name. I have nothing in my heart but love for everyone, so I've forgiven them. I am praying for them. Well. Huh. Bishop Emanuel has a popular youth following on TikTok and has criticized, God damn it, homosexuality, COVID vaccinations, and Islam in his sermons. Not based priest. He's a fucking nut job. A Muslim community leader has said the suspect might have anger management behavioral issues and a short fuse, but had shown no signs of being radicalized. Jamal Rifi, who is also a Sydney doctor, said the boy had apologized when the family visited him in the hospital. He kept apologizing to his mom, and saying sorry, and he showed remorse for what he did. So the attacker is in the hospital saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then the priest that got attacked and stabbed in the head is like, I forgive you. Just bred differently down in Australia, aren't they? Let's keep with the stabbing, shall we? Somebody been stabbing kids over in France. 2 children stabbed near a school in France as the suspect was arrested. Victims were reportedly 2 schoolgirls aged 6 and 11. What a gorgeous picture. Allow me to sit and admire that beauty. This is apparently in Strasbourg. Man has been arrested after 2 young girls were stabbed near their school in France. 2 children were knifed on Thursday close to a school in the town of Suffolwisham. Suffolwisham.
Suffolweiersheim.
Suffolweiersheim. Suffolweiersheim.
Suffolweiersheim.
Sounds like something a German would do to you. This is in eastern France near Strasbourg. It added that they were taken to a hospital emergency ward. AFP reported the victims were 2 schoolgirls aged 6 and 11, and that they were left slightly injured. A suspect has now been arrested in the area of the incident. The man, born in 1995. I love the way this is worded. He was born in 1995. That makes him how old? 29? Did not resist arrest, nor did he have a knife in his hand. And then he started singing, "We're the Hooligans." According to the newspaper, the force also said there has so far been no... These have been the most polite We're going to get over to the crime here in the U.S., and it's just going to be like belligerent assholes. Crime everywhere else, they're like, I'm so polite. Go ahead and arrest me. I'm sorry. What the fuck? Knocked over a dustbin in Sheffield. According to the newspaper, the force also said there has so far been no suggestion he had any links with the school. It added that he does not appear to have any known links to radicals. It was not known to security services before the attack. Children were reportedly confined to the school in the aftermath and picked up by parents later in the afternoon. Before the school children were allowed to be collected, Sarah, the mother of an 8-year-old pupil, told AFP, "I'm really scared. Would have been reassured that the children are safe inside, but we don't know when we'll be able to get them back. A friend called me. She saw the commotion in front of the school as she passed by. Her reflex was to call me so that I could pick up my son." This comes as tensions are running high in French schools, with Prime Minister Gabriel Attal announcing a number of measures as part of a crackdown on violence committed by school children against their peers. Just this month, a 14-year-old schoolgirl was left in a coma after being brutally assaulted by 3 teenagers in the southern city of Montpellier. The teenager was attacked on the 2nd of April outside of Arthur Rimbaud College in the district of La Maison-la-Pléiade, prosecutors said. I did not have to read this, I just wanted to. I wanted to take a stab at it. Take a stab at it! Shh. Whose planes are diverting over Iran? That is a crucial detail you're leaving out, Warlord. Commercial planes. Did commercial planes fly over Iran to begin with? You sound sus. Find out what Warlord is talking about. I see no reporting. But if it's breaking, then... Need to go to like Twitter or something. That's what I was saying, like that would have to be like a reporter on Twitter. I would think that, like, unless you're flying into Iran, unless you're flying into Tehran, I would think you wouldn't fly over it. But I don't know. Well, that's U.S. I'm thinking in terms of the U.S., right? So, like, if you're a Russian commercial airline, I guess. Does Russia have commercial airlines? I assume they do. Chinese commercial airline. This is being reported by the Times of Israel. This is from January 2020. It's all good. I mean, Russia have commercial. I assume Iran has commercial airliners of some sort. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. Like, you know, lobbing missiles at each other and shit. I would think that, like, unless it's just like you're flying air to bed or something and you go into Africa, why would you fly over Iran? Also, I'm not good with geography, so don't hold me to that. I could only find Idaho on the map because it's weird looking. Speaking of Idaho, Brian Kohberger, who also did a stabbing, allegedly. Maybe we've got new details that will sway us and think that, yeah, I am the hoe. I really am. I live in sexual anarchy.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Third. Brian Kohberger revealed his alibi today in court.
Brian Kohberger out stargazing and driving the night 4 University of Idaho students were murdered. That's part of the alibi he's offering to the court. I have 3 surprising details of what he's claiming and what it could mean for his defense. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy.
Crime
We've
Fix.
known for a while now that Brian Kohberger claimed he was out driving the night the 4 students.
Is this a Janine Garofalo character?
But now we have a little more detail about where Brian Kohberger claimed he went and why. Kohberger maintains he didn't murder Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle on November 13th, 2022, so he says he certainly wasn't at that house. Instead, his lawyer's right. Mr. Kohberger was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, as he often did, to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, Idaho, including Hawaii Park. In Idaho, if a defendant is going to claim they have an alibi, they have to tell the prosecutor about a specific place or places where they were when a crime took place. And they have to identify a witness or
I don't believe it.
vouch for them. Here's
That
what
sounds like
John
that sounds like some shit you would
summer.
You call an Uber or something, have them like take your phone. That's my alibi. And apparently, as I understand it, the phone was turned off during the time of the murder anyway. So
the way I understand this is, and this is in the so-called alibi, not really an alibi, but quote, he was out driving during the late night and early morning hours of November 12th to 13th, 2022.
So interestingly enough, Koberger
Yeah, I'm not
didn't
convinced.
identify any witnesses who can say, I saw Brian in that filing. So Koberger has kind of offered an alibi. This is what I would call alibi-ish. The filing also seems to cast doubt
That's
on
not a
claims made by
thing.
the prosecution in its probable cause affidavit. For instance, police had said Brian Koberger's cell phone.
Exactly. It sounds like somebody who kind of slipped through the class and thought he was smart would try to do. I don't believe it for a second. Like, I am more convinced now of his guilt than I have ever been the entire time. Because, like, his lawyers have been acting like he had a sound case that he could be able to prove his innocence. No, motherfuckers. He got a rich daddy. You just taking him for a ride. Holy shit. He guilty. Justin rules it right now. Order in the court. Let's go to New Jersey, where apparently several schools were shut down after a bomb threat was called in.
This time in New Jersey, where a bomb threat forced Marlboro Township Public Schools to
Marlboro
close today. News 4's Adam Harding is there live now. What have we learned about this, Adam?
Well, Coop, we're learning right now that this story appears to be growing by the hour. This is not the only district now dealing with these types of threats. Here in Marlboro, as you mentioned, school has been canceled throughout the township today after police say they received a threat that was targeting or discussing the Memorial Middle School, as well as the Board of Education buildings here. They say that they were trying to determine who made these threats, but they got it earlier this morning, and they have, in the hour since, been sweeping through these buildings. According to police from Marlboro Township, they say that the source of this threat has been deemed
That's very true, Dustin,
and low credibility. But right now, building sweeps and canine sweeps continue. And right now, we're learning this is not the only district dealing with these types of threats. In fact, in Trenton, I just spoke with the mayor a short time ago, and the public school district posting this to social media a short time ago, essentially saying that the Trenton Police Department had bomb dogs perform a sweep of the Board of Education building in Trenton and cleared it for re-entry. The building is safe and central office staff can return. They go on to say that early this morning, the New Jersey State Police received a bomb threat via email naming 3 districts, including the TPS, which is the Trenton Public Schools central office building. They go on to say that they continue to thank everyone for their cooperation and patience. The Board of Education here in New Jersey right now referring us to various police agencies now dealing with these investigations. So to summarize it here, Marlboro schools receiving these threats with the middle school and the Board of Education. Because of that, school here in Marlboro has been closed for the day, canceled for the day. Trenton also dealing with a similar type of threat made earlier this morning. The building there, the Board of Education, given the all clear. But the big question now is, are these connected? Where does the investigation go at this point? It is still early. But here in Marlboro, no classes today. That's the very latest live in Marlboro. I'm Adam Harding, News 4, New York.
A major disruption for those students there. Adam, thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam. Good reporting. Bomb was dropped on a town in Nebraska. Elkhorn, Nebraska. We're going to Elkhorn, Nebraska. Teacher was caught undressed in a car with a student.
Teacher was arrested overnight after police say they caught her in a car without clothes on with a teenager. Police say they found a car parked on a dead-end road just before 3 a.m. in Elkhorn.
You live in
when deputies
sexual
arrived, one of the
anarchy?
people inside tried to drive off but crashed.
They all look the same. Like, that's the same. She was husked. That is literally the same teacher that is always molesting a student. I don't know what to think about that. Like, fucking, it's kind of evolution that, you know, woman gets all cougary, and if she's around teenage boys whose hormones are raging. I'm not making excuses for it, especially like if there's like psychological damage or some shit. If a teacher had fucked me when I was 15, I would have been into it. And I know that's fucking horrible, but there were several of my teachers I would have really liked to fuck. And that I fantasized about fucking many, many, many times.
You live in sexual anarchy?
I fucked a teacher of a girlfriend I had one time. That was crazy. When she found out that I fucked her teacher, like...
Crashed into a tree. After the crash, authorities say they found a teen on the road just before 3 a.m. in Elkhorn. When deputies arrived, one of the people inside tried to drive off but crashed into a tree. After the crash, authorities say they found a teen wearing only underwear and a t-shirt an hour later. Back at the scene of the crash, police identified the other car as Erin Ward. There she is on your screen. Police say Ward told them she had sex with the teen. Omaha Public School employee ID cards were also reportedly found in Ward's vehicle. She was charged with felony sexual abuse by a school employee.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Yep. It's kind of wrong. I mean, I see entirely where it's wrong. It's totally unacceptable, but I also see why it happens. Does that make sense? Like, it's I don't know what to do with that information. I don't think you should put cougars around virile young teenagers. It's just probably not a good idea, because it's a chemical. It's a chemical reaction. I've had it happen twice in my life. You just see somebody and you want to fuck them. It's just like, it happens. I'm not making a value judgment. It is wrong. It is absolutely wrong. Statutory rape is wrong. But I understand why it happens. Yeah, that was another thing. Like, I had, a conversation with somebody about, abuse and stuff, and like, I had an aunt that filled me up. Filled me up? Felt me up. There we go. That's the word. And like, this is probably 8th grade, 9th grade. And like, I totally liked it. She could have felt me up even more. But that's wrong. That's wrong. Adults shouldn't be filling up children. That's correct. That's the correct statement to make. God damn. I'm gonna shut up now. Cancel Justin, please. I am really... I don't feel embarrassment often, but like, I'm kind of feeling embarrassment now. That's really gonna come back to bite me in the ass. As if there's not audio of me, video of me saying everything under the sun. Every fucking thing. Justin can never have a real job. It would never work. I'd like to think you would support me if you heard the context I said everything in. Exactly, Venus. I shouldn't fuck my chances. You're right. Moving on. Maynard is not impressed by any of this. A suspected peeping Tom was held down by a volunteer. No, he was a volunteer in an elementary. Fucking shit. God damn, this one's fucked up.
We first brought you last night at 11 about a Facebook post getting a lot of attention. It shows a man putting his phone under a woman's skirt in a Target here in the East.
And today we learned that police are checking his phone for anything inappropriate involving children after determining that he volunteered at an elementary school. The woman in the Target video is now talking to WITN about this disturbing ordeal. Amarachi,
this is disturbing.
And police officials, and she's live now from Greenville with more. Amarachi?
I believe this is Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah, Courtney, it was a disturbing scene captured inside of this Target. Now, moments ago, we learned from a search warrant for Elliott's phone that he, quote, denied any wrongdoing and showed police the recent pictures he had on his cell phone. Now, the warrant seeks, among other things, video, files, digital photographs, text messages, and deleted information that may be recovered via a forensics examination. A Pitt County woman now sharing her story after a disturbing interaction Monday at Greenville's Target.
No matter how much you try to think that you're going to be prepared for it, it kind of throws you through a loop when it actually happens.
Video shot by a shopper shows the woman, who asked us not to identify her, kneeling down in an aisle. Then you see what appears to be 21-year-old Thomas Elliott bending down right beside her.
So I decided to get up and scoot over, and then at this point, I really was not focusing on what I was trying to buy anymore. I was more just so distracted by him still lingering in the area.
I bet.
Even after moving, you see him again, this time taking a different approach. Watch as he crouches down beside the woman, placing his phone underneath her skirt.
Wow!
The camera has seen enough and decides to confront Elliott.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Following an exchange of words, police are called and Elliott is charged with felony secretly peeping. Now, police say they're checking his cell phone to see if there are any sexual activities involving children on it after it was discovered that he was a volunteer at Eastern Elementary School.
Oh my God, Flash, that makes perfect sense. That should totally be a law here in the United States. Boom.
As a woman, it's concerning, it's sickening to watch, truthfully.
Yes.
And we do applaud the woman for.
Hold on, as anybody that's sickening to watch, not just as a woman. Holy fuck.
A woman behind the camera has seen enough and decides to confront Elliott.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Following an exchange of words, police are called and Elliott is charged with felony secretly peeping. Now, police say they're checking his cell phone to see if there are any sexual activities involving children on it after it was discovered that he was a volunteer at Eastern Elementary School.
As a woman, it's concerning, it's sickening to watch, truthfully. And we do applaud the woman for capturing this on video and confronting the suspect.
The woman deciding to speak up to share her experience, hoping to bring light to a dangerous trend.
To let people know that this is going on, not just in big crazy cities, but here in smaller places like Greenville.
So everyone knows what to do if caught in this situation.
I think the key takeaways are just being aware of your surroundings at all times, trusting that gut feeling and acting when you, speaking up when you.
Okay, like totally, here's the thing is like, I'm trying to like rationalize it. Was like, if you're wanting to get like some kind of upskirt picture, like that's fucking like high danger, low reward. Like what even fucking picture are you gonna, it was like, it's weird that my mind goes here. And like, I'm rationalizing like, you know, the risk reward factor, but like clearly like somebody that's like that has no ability to rationalize a risk reward factor, right? Like they're not thinking about it in terms of like, oh my God, this is an easy way to get caught and ruin the rest of my life. Well, holy fuck. Because like, who the fuck thinks they can get away with doing that? Right in the middle of a goddamn Target. Not only that there are other shoppers walking around, but there are fucking cameras everywhere. What the hell? What a stupid motherfucker. Like that can't be like like his brain can't function that way. I thought through rationally. Like there has to be some sort of impulse that he's acting on that has nothing to do with rational thought. Fuck that dude.
That something's off.
The woman says she now doesn't feel comfortable going to Target alone. She hopes by sharing her story, she can prevent something like this from happening to someone else. Reporting live in Greenville, Amarachi Uche, WITN News.
All right, thanks, Amarachi. And Elliott posted a $5,000 bond yesterday. He was in court for the first time today, and his next court date is set for June 12th.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like $5,000 seemed kind of low for me, but like, also didn't really do anything because like he didn't get no fucking picture or anything. Yeah, what the fuck was on his phone? Get a warrant for that shit. Make sure there's. He worked at the school. God damn. Yep. Yeah, and I watched the Nickelodeon documentary. And that's cause that's not my time period, right? Cause I was talking to my buddy about it, and I was like, I may have watched the first season of all that, and then like I'm too cool for that shit. He's like, brother, all that came out when you're like in 5th or 6th grade. I'm like, yeah, by 7th grade, I'm all fucking flannel and torn jeans. I had this fucking like army jacket and shit. I was grunge as fuck. Watched MTV, not fucking Nickelodeon. Probably I started watching like Space Ghost and shit like that. So it's not even like the thing is not nostalgia for me because I'm the generation before that. Like I'm Ren and Stimpy and Rugrats and Doug and Hey Dude and Salute Your Shorts and Double Dare and Legends of the Hidden Temple and Guts and all that good shit. And then like apparently that Dan Schneider guy came along and fucked it all up. Spoiler alert, but I don't know how the fuck they arrested 3 different fucking child molesters within like 3 or 4 years on the same goddamn Nickelodeon set, and somebody didn't go, maybe we should shut this shit down. Hell yeah, I watched a lot of Bugs with like my grandparents and shit. They watched all the old school cartoons. They loved the Flintstones and Bugs and Mighty Mouse and I'm trying to think of fucking Rocky and Bullwinkle and shit. And then like the shit that was aimed at me was like Tiny Toons and Animaniacs and all that good shit. Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles, and now I'm just member burying. When me and Battle Opossum did the mushrooms the other day, he was just like he was just sitting over here fucking like naming off cartoons he watched when he was like fucking 3. I'm like, dude, you're just member burying on me. Shut the fuck up. You're not having a conversation. Like, yeah, I am. It was great. Oh yeah, we're doing I remember. Yeah, we're doing news. I remember. My bad. I forgot what I was doing there for a second. We were doing the legal news, so we might as well, as we transition into the politics, do the overlapping legal news politics combo and talk about how the jurors have been selected for the Trump trial.
Welcome to the News Hour. A full jury has been seated in.
Welcome for me coming to the News Hour.
Trial, but jury selection has had a rocky start as 2 previously.
Wait, isn't this like Chris Parnell? That's the guy's name, right? It's like fucking Jerry on Rick and Morty was on Saturday Night Live and shit. That's who. Like fucking everybody's a Saturday Night Live character tonight.
Jurors were dismissed, and prosecutors again accused the former president of violating a gag order and asked the judge to hold him in contempt. I'm joined now by former federal prosecutor Jessica Roth. Jessica, great to have you back on the program. A bit of a whiplash with this jury. It was up and then it was down, and now there was a full jury seated. Two issues came up.
Who am I kidding? I'd have a threesome with them.
Being dismissed. One, a juror was worried that her identity was being revealed in the process. A second was concern over whether another juror was somehow hiding his or her true intentions about why they wanted to sit on the jury. Are those just normal concerns, especially in a case like this?
Well, they raised two distinct concerns, these two jurors. The first juror, who said that she was concerned essentially about her privacy and I think implicitly her safety, because she thought that her identity essentially was being found out. That's particular to this case. You usually don't see those kinds of juror concerns about their safety.
We're going to get to that here in a second.
In a case, for example, involving falsification of business records, which is, of course, is the charge here. You might see that in an organized crime case or a terrorism case. But of course, this is an unusual case that's at its heart a white-collar case involving the former president of the United States, but who has engaged in a pattern of conduct and speech online in particular that really has caused threats to people who are involved in legal proceedings that are associated with him. And so it's highly unusual that you would have a juror in a case like this expressing those kinds of concerns. And it's unique to the circumstances presented by Donald Trump and his followers. So that particular...
He's just tiptoeing around it, so I'm going to cut her off and go ahead and go to it. Here's one of the main reasons why she felt unsafe. Quits over fear of being outed after Fox News host says she should scare Trump. By the end of Tuesday, 7 jurors have been selected to determine whether Donald Trump should be the first president ever convicted of a crime. By Thursday morning, where the Manhattan trial resumed, there were just 6. According to Judge Juan Merchan, the juror was excused after later expressing doubt that she could remain fair and impartial. In particular, she said that friends and family had already reached out to ask if she was serving on the jury. Here is the segment in question.
And could this be a hung jury? Let's bring in Susan Constantine, jury consultant and body language expert. Let's look at the foreman.
Sounds like bullshit to me.
Salesman from Harlem, but he was born in Ireland. Didn't finish college, married, no kids. Do you think this guy's...
Wow, this is absolutely outing them. If you're going out here and telling all of their pro-DEI, are you shitting me? Pro-DEI? The Disney dancer? Fucking wow.
Do you think this guy's a defense juror?
He's a defense juror. This is a juror that's come into this country, right? He's looking at this as a land of opportunity, and he's trumpeting everything that he believes in. So when I look at this particular juror and that he is also a middle-class citizen, and the type of position that he has is non-authoritarian, I think this is definitely a defense juror and a very strong one.
Okay, a salesman is non-authoritarian. Okay, I have met a few salesmen that would maybe differ from that. Number 2 is the nurse. This nurse scares me if I'm Trump. She's from the Upper East Side, master's degree, not married, no kids.
This is the one that has excused herself. Jesse Waters is kind of right, but like, this is not information they should be privy to. And this is wrong of them to air this. As a news organization, this is highly sus. This is against all journalistic ethics.
Lives with her fiance. Gets her news from the New York Times and CNN.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
You know, it sounded really good until I heard the CNN part of it, and automatically strike that one.
So you can't strike. All right, and then you got an Asian lawyer.
Yeah.
And he's a corporate guy. His law firm, you go right on it, says DEI all over it. What do you think about him?
What?
No. Definitely no, because he's too influential. You get him into deliberations, and he can sway those jurors that are in there. So absolutely no, not this one.
You usually don't like lawyers as jurors. I understand that. Now, here's a juror that I like. Puerto Rican, born there, says Trump's fascinating and mysterious, and he has grandchildren. I mean, that's pretty good, right?
Fascinated by Trump.
This one is a Trump apprentice. This is someone that is really fascinated with Donald Trump. He finds him mysterious, and I think that he's going to be sitting there in awe and wonder just watching, Donald Trump in the jury during the whole jury process. So I think he's definitely a great defense juror.
Okay.
I'm in shock watching this.
To have it hung. Juror number 5. Now, this one I could go either way. Black woman in her 20s, doesn't follow the news, knew nothing of any of the Trump charges. She's a teacher, not married, no kids, and all of her friends hate Trump, but I don't know. I'm not so sure about her. What do you think?
Yeah, what I'm concerned about her, for number one, usually I don't like teachers on the defense side. I usually, those are one of my eliminations.
Why?
But the other part
Why don't you like teachers?
Well, because they're usually very opinionated. They're very right and wrong. And I think that's going to be a real problem because I see Donald Trump's jurors being the ones that are in those gray areas, not those black and white authoritarian jurors, more egalitarian. And also, is she going to be influenced by her own community?
I mean, I can see it, but that's absurd, right, Richard? Like, you would think, like, in theory, they're the kind of people you would want because they'd be staunch on the law.
Within the African American
When she goes back home in between, yeah. Now, juror number 6, woman in her 20s, works for Disney, likes to dance. I mean, that is not a Trump juror.
It is not, and you have to think about, too, Disney is filled with all these young people. I think young people is a real issue on this one because they're activists.
Likes to dance.
So they're always trying to find something to stand for, and I think this is a real big problem for Donald Trump.
Now, last one. You think this guy's going to be all right? Middle-aged, balding, white guy with a tan. And then you find out also a corporate litigator whose website's filled with ESG, DEI nonsense. Goodbye.
That's probably a Trump voter right there.
Gone.
Wow.
All right, so more jury selection tomorrow. Maybe we'll have you back and we can see who's authoritative.
Corporate litigator, almost certainly a Trump voter, I would say. Oh, you're really making me, I've been thinking about, I should go to law school. I could have my JD in a couple years, 3 years. Exactly, an entire industry. Trump has dumped on everybody. What group has Trump not dumped on? Who knows? Maybe we'll hear a new one. He spoke coming out of the courtroom earlier today after the jury was seated. The jury should be anonymous. Oh, I'm sure they've already been doxxed. All of them. Jesse Waters knew all that information. That's insane.
So, thank you very much. I wanted to just say that I'm supposed to be in New Hampshire. I'm supposed to be in Georgia. I'm supposed to be in North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm supposed to be in a lot of different places campaigning. But I've been here all day on a trial that really is a very unfair trial. These are all stories. This is over the last few days from legal experts. This is Wall Street Journal editorial. But all of these are stories from legal experts saying how this is not a case. The case is ridiculous.
National Enquirer,
a ridiculous
New York
Trump
Post.
indictment. It's missing fraud. There is no fraud.
All the legal experts are Alan Dershowitz.
Stories are stories of how, and these are done by the experts.
By the way, Saturday we're gonna get the Dersh explaining why he thinks OJ was framed. I cannot wait for that. Alan Dershowitz is gonna tell us why he thinks OJ was framed, and then Sparkles is gonna read the OJ eulogy to you. She did a whole eulogy for OJ. That is this Saturday on the 420 anniversary spectacular.
and editorials. Bragg falsified business record, and he falsifies them. He's the one. He's the fraud. But take a look at all of these are our stories. You see them here. Bragg's indictment even falls as an indictment. All of them. Bragg crosses the Rubicon, indicting Trump on nonsense.
Seriously, what are your sources here, you asshole?
It's a whopping outrage, and it is an outrage. Everybody's outraged by it.
That was Fox News. I saw that one.
DA or DA types or close.
Who framed him by putting out that confession book?
They counted all their in and out like, and in the meantime, you have murders going on right outside in New York. Look at this National Review. Another name.
Absolutely is a travesty.
Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett.
Yeah, Jonathan Turley. Of course it's Jonathan Turley.
Every one of them saying they call it a zombie case.
Alan Dershowitz.
There's no case. And they say, is it constitutional? They don't think the case is. These are all stories that have taken place over the last.
He printed out.
Look at this.
This motherfucker printed out Fox News and National Enquirer and the New York Post and shit. And like the sleaziest TV lawyers he could find. It's like, see, I'm not guilty.
D.A. Bragg wants us to believe that his pursuit of Trump isn't political.
He showed his morning news to him.
They're doing this for Joe Biden. Even the Rolling Stone, no friend of mine.
Oh, Dustin, I'd almost guarantee, like, it looks like there's a packet for each story, but it's just going to be like the front page of Fox News. And there's like fucking 5 pages stapled to it. That's what we got. Look, it is like you can see through any piece of paper if there's something written on the other side. Like, it is fucking blank fucking white.
They don't like, it says, they don't like Bragg's chances.
It's his morning coloring book.
It's a disgrace. That's a nice headline. I like
That's a nice color blue tie he has.
About the case. Justice is on trial. You know, the whole world is watching this New York scam.
He doesn't know how to read.
It's Wall Street Journal. It's a spectacle. Every one of these.
Yep, headline first paragraph.
America is a third world country. Daily Caller.
The Daily Caller, yep.
Wow. That's New York Magazine even.
New York Magazine even.
These are all, every single one. I haven't seen one that says it's a good trial. It's political. This is a Wall Street Journal editorial. And it's a shame. It's a shame.
Hey, fair enough, DJ Dub.
Now, from morning till night, in that freezing room. Freezing.
They're freezing him out.
And all for this. And this is your result. Look at that. Each one of them is a story. And it's very unfair. Very bad thing. Very bad thing. The whole world is watching this hoax. You got a DA that's out of control. You have a judge that's highly conflicted. The whole thing is a mess. And you have the leading candidate and leading crooked Joe Biden by law. He's the one that should be in trial. He's a crook. You got a crooked president. He should be in trial with all the stuff he's done and his family. He should be in trial. But he's the one in charge. His top people are here, working with the DA's office to make sure everything goes right. But it shouldn't go right because they have no case. And that's what this is all about. And it really is a shame. This country is devolving into a third world country. Between having no borders, having no justice, we have no justice, and having a
no justice
that doesn't want to cover the facts. So
no press.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
The juror called you selfish. How does that make you feel?
There you have it, folks. No justice. Oh my God, we're gonna hear Trump get mean tweets read about him. First, this is just brilliant. This shows the legal mind that used to represent Trump. I don't think she's still with him. I think she has abated the case. This is Elena Haba on Fox News.
Thank you. I think that we're seeing a painful, unfortunately, selection because we're in the state of New York, which is definitely by design. There is no question that Bragg bringing this in New York, look at the Fulton County DA and so on and so forth, Washington, D.C. These venues are selected exactly for this reason, Martha.
That is a lawyer saying that the venue was selected. It is taking place in New York because that's where the crime occurred. He lived in New York. Trump Tower. Ma'am, you're a lawyer. Clearly not a good one. I don't think we have footage of it. I think we just get a reporter's statement about how Trump was forced to hear mean tweets about himself read in court.
Evening from New York, I'm Chris Hayes. Wednesday. It's Wednesday, which must be Donald Trump's favorite day of the work week because his New York criminal trial for election interference is not in session. Not on Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays, he does not have to sit in a courtroom for 8 hours where he must be quiet and cannot control what happens. And on Wednesdays, he does not have to listen as his lawyers and the judge read into the record the various nasty things that people say about him out in the real world. Because that's exactly what happened in Judge Juan Merchan's Manhattan courtroom yesterday. Now, again, for any American, I think, other than Trump himself, like negative talk about Donald Trump posts on social media is the most mundane thing imaginable. The fact of the matter is he's polarizing and he is unpopular. Those two things are true about him. More people dislike him.
Okay, so let's talk about the fact that I've been saying the dude's name wrong. Judge Juan Merchan. I said Juan Merchan. A vote taking place on Saturday? A vote we're doing for something on Saturday, or is there an election for something? Or is that there's a vote on the security bill in the House of Representatives. That's probably what you're talking about. Mike Johnson is bringing that for a vote, and like we're on the verge of them, calling the resolution to oust the speaker. So it's possible that on the 420th anniversary, we get like the whole Speaker of the House fight and shit. That would be fun. Isn't it cute that there's a socks right there? Right there in the corner of the couch. It sucks that like it's always a turd and a douche.
Than like him by a margin of nearly 12%, though that's been higher in the past. It's nothing new. And again, both in 2016 and 2020, Donald Trump lost the popular vote in this big, great, complicated country of ours by a significant margin, by 2.8 million votes in 2016, by 7 million votes in 2020. Neither election was that close, to be totally honest. In off-year elections, Trump
it's insane.
Vanity Fair calls losing touch with Trump-endorsed candidate after candidate going down. But because of that one victory in 2016, enabled by the anti-democratic quirk of our electoral system, many people grew to believe, and this narrative persists, that there's some small set of elites that dislike Donald Trump, but the real folks love him. And that perception just kind of exploded in a place where the realest of real people congregate. Where else can you find a cross-section of everyone registered to vote, holding a driver's license or paying income tax in a particular region than in a jury room in a courthouse? This week in Manhattan Criminal Court, hundreds of real people
Hogan Place, brother,
as is their constitutional civic privilege and duty, where many of them were considered for the very first trial of an ex-president. A bunch of them told the court up front, there's no way I could serve on this jury. There's no way I could be impartial about this man. Others who made it through the initial rounds of questioning, who said, I think I can do it, I think I'd be impartial, then had their social media posts about the former president read aloud into the official record as they and Trump sat and listened.
Oh, this is fantastic.
It went something like a late-night Jimmy Kimmel mean tweets skit. Here are just a few examples taken.
You know, could I get away with, like, you know, saying I could be impartial, and they look at my social media, because it's not like I mentioned Trump a lot, but like, I'm sure, like, you know, I've said he's guilty and shit and replies to things.
Taken straight from the court transcript. Quote,
Quesadilla.
Trump lost his court battle and his unlawful travel ban. Get him out and lock him up. Watch out for stupid tweets by DJT. The posts also included memes, like one described by Trump's lawyer Todd Blanche, quote, as a picture of President Obama and President Trump, and it says, I don't think this is what they meant by orange is the new black. Another juror, Blanche, posted a 1 minute and 30-second AI-generated video titled, I'm dumb as F, Trump 20. Of course,
I'm sure I've said all kinds of crazy shit about him, I guess. But I mean, it's not like I go out of my way to talk about him. He just kind of forces himself on everybody.
Or some people in the jury pool who appeared.
The big dumb dipshit.
Like the man who told the judge that he would love to serve for New York and one of our great presidents. Couldn't. He's got a job. He's got to go there. And that man, too, representative of real people, Americans, a county, in fact, Manhattan, New York County, New York, where 85,000 people voted for Donald Trump in 2020 out of 700,000. That's what Donald Trump had to sit through yesterday. Now, keep in mind, this is a person whose entire life revolves around a sick and destructive desire for praise, as well as revenge against those who dare to say anything negative about him.
Hey there,
That desire is so strong that he has an ever-present aide who reportedly follows Trump around with, and I'm quoting here because it's almost not believable, a wireless printer to provide him with an ongoing stream of good news from the internet. Presumably.
Well, we saw that. We saw that earlier today. So I'm assuming this is Chris Hayes from last night. And then we saw him do exactly that today. His big pile of good news from the internet.
She followed him to the bodega in Harlem yesterday after a long day in court, where it would not be crazy to suspect that Trump staff might have instigated these chants among the crowd. Yes, Harlem Bodega is infamous for the spontaneous Trump crowds that break out into 4 more year chants. Trump's fragile ego was further on display today in a social media rant against Jimmy Kimmel, who slighted him at the Oscars last month after Trump attacked him. Remember, he did that thing mid-performance, and according to Trump, quote, stupid Kimmel still hasn't recovered from his horrendous performance, especially when he showed he suffered from TDS, commonly known as Trump derangement syndrome. He then went on to confuse Jimmy Kimmel with Al Pacino for like 4 more paragraphs in that post.
Wait, how can someone do that?
Anyone will tell you, and I'll be the first to admit, of course, Manhattan is not exactly representative of all America. But again, it's also home to like well over 1 billion real actual people, real American citizens in all of our diversity and complexity. And people who do not like Donald Trump are every bit as American as those who do.
Yeah.
In fact, and again, obvious point but understated, they are the majority. As the first 2 days of the first ever criminal trial of a former president has reminded us.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alert.
Shut up, Ali Velshi. You go away. I don't like your enthusiasm. Curb it, schmuck. Donald Trump got a resounding endorsement from the former Prime Minister, Liz Truss, who could not outlast a lettuce. Liz Truss gives the internet a gift of a GIF for the ages on Fox News. She's apparently got a book to hawk. 10 years to save the what? I love that Huffington Post doesn't even show us the title of the book. 10 years to save the West. That sounds like some Nazi shit. Liz Truss has gone viral yet again after she was captured on camera making an unfortunate blunder while trying to promote her controversial new book. The former prime minister, who has a reputation for making rather unfortunate gaffes, went on the right-wing U.S. TV channel Fox News to talk about her volume, 10 Years to Save the West. Hold on, where's the...
To see you. Your thoughts.
Great to see you. And here's my new book. I'll just get it up. Sorry, I'll get it up front. There we are.
Your thoughts.
Great to see you. And here's my new book. I'll just get it.
First off, great to see you. Your thoughts.
Great to see you. And here's my new book. I'll just get it up. Sorry, I'll get it
you
up.
go.
There we are.
Yeah, congratulations. First off, great to see you. Your thoughts.
Great to see you. And here's my new book. I'll just get it up. Sorry, I'll...
And others could not help but refer back to her previous, arguably iconic slip-ups.
Great to see you.
That's the same one, god damn it. I can't see what the fuck I'm doing. We'll go to this browser. Also can't see what the fuck I'm doing. Wait a minute. Maybe it's loading up. Come on, give me the rest of them. Because she was there to endorse Donald Trump. I specifically picked this one because it had the full clip with it. But I've been had by the Huffington Post. Oh well, she's not that important anyway. Held her book up wrong. I hate to make fun of people though because of that. Like, you know, I'm a big goof. I do stupid shit all the time. If you're in the public eye any amount of time, you're bound to do some stupid shit. Fucking me just like doing a couple hours a week. I'm bound to say all kinds of stupid shit. Speaking of saying stupid shit, is that a good segue? The Kennedy family is not endorsing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. There we go. They are endorsing Joe Biden.
Of independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s family endorsed President Biden in Philadelphia today. Biden is wrapping up a 3-day swing of the key battleground state. Arwisha Jang joins us now from the White House.
I got cat hair in my mouth.
What signal is the Biden campaign trying to send with these endorsements?
Well, Nicole, I think the very fact that they had this announcement during a huge campaign event in Philadelphia shows how seriously Democrats are taking RFK Jr.'s run. I think earlier on it was easier to dismiss him, but he has been gaining traction. And they're not so much worried, of course, that he will.
I still say he takes more votes from Trump than he does from Biden.
Win the presidency. But when it comes
to
it, you know, this race
Alf's back in
Joe
pog
Biden
form.
and Donald Trump is going to be won in just a handful of swing states. And if RFK Jr. can make a difference in those states.
Hey, did somebody say John Kennedy?
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth.
No
I'm
relation.
Going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Kennedy needs cock.
It could be devastating for President Biden. And so they're signaling that they're taking this seriously. And I think also, what more can you say except your own family is deciding to vote against you? I think that message speaks for itself.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we did hear from several members of the Kennedy family today about their endorsement. Here's Carrie Kennedy, the sister of RFK Jr. Let's take a listen.
You shopping for a Dom, Dustin?
Crystal clear our feeling that the best way forward for America is to re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
My God, you can tell they're Kennedys. Every single one of them. It's like the British royal family. It's like they're all fucking inbred amongst each other. God damn!
To 4 more years. Nearly every single grandchild of Joe and Rose Kennedy supports Joe Biden.
This is Clint Eastwood Kennedy over here.
That's right. That's right. The Kennedy family endorses Joe Biden for president.
So let's talk about the time.
I don't know, DJ Dub. I don't like fucking. Look at them. They're all like. They are definitely Kennedys. They're all blonde. Oh, God damn it. What's wrong with this fucking family? I don't like them.
Joe and Rose Kennedy.
Who gives a shit what the Kennedys think?
That's right. That's right. The Kennedy family endorses Joe Biden for president.
So let's talk about the timing here. Why are many of the Kennedys backing Biden now?
Many of the Kennedys.
Well, I think they have backed him for quite some time, but this is the first public endorsement. In fact, here in March,
of course they condemn Hamas.
24 Kennedy family members, so they have a close bond. The president today recalled that both Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and, of course, John F. Kennedy were inspiring to him, and how he keeps a bust of Robert F. Kennedy in his office.
They, instead of falling down the ugly tree, which, I mean, they kind of fell down that too, they fell down the Kennedy tree, and they hit all the different branches.
And so I think this is just, an important time because...
What's wrong with this dude?
All their efforts to face off with Donald
He's too stiff for me.
Because Carrie Kennedy, during her remarks today and during several interviews today, she didn't really talk about her brother.
Bullet in the head.
Remarks at the campaign event. She didn't even mention him by name, but she did insist that the race was only between Biden and Trump, that no one else could possibly win it. It's an awkward situation, but I think, they're trying to throw their support behind President Biden because, again, they are aware that there could be a spoiler vote because of their brother.
And given that, we also heard from another sibling of RFK.
Is that my thing? Would I do a orgy with him? I don't know. Now you've put me on the spot. I mean, I'm kinky. Is Biden included, or is he just watching? Because honestly, come on, man. Biden's probably the best looking guy up there, but I can't get a good look at this guy. He might be a sexy fox. But if he's a Kennedy, I don't know. You put me on the spot. Would I have an orgy with the Kennedys? I guess I gotta have a list of what they want to do first. He looks like a silver fox, but he's still a Kennedy. I'm sorry. Let's get off this story. I'm done with it. I went too far. Oh, God. You know what they say? Never trust a fart. The House Freedom Cock is on alert for possible moves against its GOP leaders. The Floor Action Response Team, shorthanded as FART. Like, this is, as far as I know, they named themselves that on purpose. They're aiming to guard against an unannounced request to pass resolutions that would limit the group's leverage. Conservatives in the House Freedom Cock are signing up to take shifts to monitor the chamber floor in order to prevent their own party leaders from making unilateral moves that could curb their power. The Freedom Cock's Floor Action Response Team, shorthanded as FART, aims to guard against an unannounced request to pass resolutions that would stealthily limit their leverage against leadership, according to two Republicans with direct knowledge who were granted anonymity to speak candidly. While one of the Republicans said the group largely doesn't expect major developments, members also don't want to be caught flat-footed if a GOP colleague tried to seek unanimous consent or a voice vote for a resolution that would change the House's structure. Two potential examples of threats the Freedom Cock perceives: the removal of its members from the Rules Committee or changes to the agreements made at the beginning of Congress with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. It's a troubling sign for Speaker Mike Johnson, who's trying to pass a foreign aid package that deeply divides his conference amid a growing ouster threat from his right. While Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene spearheads that push to boot him, a greater number of rank-and-file House Republicans are calling for changes to the concessions McCarthy gave conservatives in order to win the gavel last year. The huge amount of intra-party power the former speaker had to give to the right flank is making it nearly impossible for Johnson to govern with his tiny majority. That's what she said. It's nearly impossible for you to govern with your tiny majority, sir.
Look, everybody can grumble about details of the legislation. What I remind my friends, and everybody you just showed are all good friends, listen, we're not going to get 100% of what we want right now because we have the smallest majority in history, and we only have the majority in the chamber. The Republicans run the House. We have the small majority in the House. The Democrats are in charge of the Senate and the White House. So by definition, we won't get everything we want, but we got a great product here at the end, much better than the alternative that came in the Senate supplemental. And now everybody gets to vote their conscience, up or down. That's what we're for: regular process, regular order, and accountability to the people. And I think you'll see that here this week.
Come
on now.
It is possible we could get a vote to oust her on Saturday. We might get a vote for the supplemental aid package that includes money to Ukraine, Israel, humanitarian aid to Palestine. I can't remember. There was one other thing that was attached to it as well. They named themselves that. They named themselves that. Like this isn't like. And you know what I'm saying. Don't ever trust a fart. Because if you do, you might have to wash your ass.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
Okay, we'll get off of the fecal foibles that we're doing here, and we'll move on to some piss play. Representative Dan Crenshaw on Mike Johnson's chances of remaining speaker.
I guess their reasoning is they want Russia to win so badly that they want to oust the speaker over it. I mean, it's a strange position to take, I think I think they want to be in the minority too. I think that's an obvious reality. I'm still trying to process all the bullshit. So
he's right.
So badly.
Don't let the glasses fool you. Under those glasses There's a gorgeous high pussy just waiting to be pissed in. He's a piece of shit, but I mean, oh man, that whole that's the whole reason I want to piss in his eye pussy. That's the thing that made me upset. That, like, Pete Davidson apologized to him. That is why that is where my deep-seated hatred of Dan Crenshaw comes from. That he was all anti-woke, anti-cancel culture, and then he got his little feelings hurt, and he had to have Pete Davidson apologize to him. It was bullshit. Fuck Dan Crenshaw. I would give anything, everything I own. My entire political philosophy revolves around what position will allow me to piss in Dan Crenshaw's eye pussy. I live for it. It is my ultimate goal in life. Well, I've been in a slump in my life. I haven't known what to do with myself because I'm not exactly sure what is the thing that gets me closest to pissing in Dan Crenshaw's eye hole. If I could work towards that goal, if you could tell me the thing that I needed to grind on, that at the end of it, that gives me fucking 50,000 experience points, and then I get to piss in Dan Crenshaw's eye hole, it's all I'd ever fucking do. I would spend my life grinding on the thing that would let me piss in Dan Crenshaw's eye pussy, you piece of shit. For some reason, I thought the troll head was on it, but it's actually my head. I love it. I mean, the troll is a stand-in for me. It's an analog for me anyway. It's my avatar. But I didn't even go with my avatar. I went with my actual head. So it's literally me pissing in Dan Crenshaw's eye pussy. I'm not high enough for this shit.
"25-year senior editor of NPR handing in his resignation this week, blasting the news organization for extreme liberal bias. The resignation coming after NPR management suspended Yuri Berliner for a scathing piece published by the Free Press, where he slammed NPR for abandoning journalistic values.
The Free Press, that's Barry Weiss's fucking rag. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. I knew it had free in it somewhere.
And I think that there are a lot of journalists now who feel like they are obligated to do stories that are aligned with their sense of justice.
Berliner writing, "NPR has always had a liberal bent, but during most of my tenure here, an open-minded, curious culture prevailed." He laid out examples of how that changed following Donald Trump's election, citing the poor handling of the now debunked Russian interference story, the turning of a blind eye to Hunter Biden's laptop, and the far-left slant of COVID-19 coverage.
Jesus Christ! All of that is conspiracy theory shit. Cause yeah, I would agree with him that, you know, like, fucking Trump broke liberals' brains, that's for certain. And like that's why I felt like I had to take a completely different, like, how can I try to make any kind of work of fiction when, you know, real life is far more entertaining. So as I just sit here and make fart jokes about Republicans, and now they're making their own fart jokes. God damn. So like, I agree with like an assessment of NPR that like it's a bougie liberal outlet, but also like as NPR has become less publicly funded and more dependent on corporate donors, it has to kind of appease that base. So like the problem is capitalism, and you're just like making up stupid shit to blame, like all fucking right wingers.
We've been too reluctant, too frightened, too timid to deal with these things, and I think that
this is the right opportunity to bring it all out in the open.
In response, NPR's executives say they stand behind their organization's exceptional work. Berliner also going after
And NPR has done some exceptional work.
Writing her divisive views confirmed the very problems at NPR I cite in my Free Press essay. Maher is very open about her politics, tweeting out photos, wearing Biden campaign hats, and calling Trump a racist. Although she's not a big money donor, data shows she gives exclusively to Democrats.
I don't sit in our newsroom discussions. I know that, though, in walking around the building, the editors and the journalists that I have met have been absolutely rigorous and committed to upholding a strong culture of inquiry.
All of this sparking a renewed push by conservative lawmakers like Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn to defund public broadcasting. Berliner says despite his criticism, that is not something he supports. In Washington.
And it is like an appalling amount of money. Like it's like 5% of NPR's budget or something like that. Don't quote me on the exact number, but it is very minuscule of their operating budget that is actually publicly funded. Like they really depend on the donors like you and their corporate donors, and that's one of the downfalls of NPR. And like another thing is like we have a fractured media, and we'll get to that here in just a second. Let's go with this Slate article. Ah, shit. I think this was a. Hold on. Let me. I'm not gonna try to guess at his title because I'll get it wrong. I'll just read the article. This is the real story behind NPR's current problems. This is an article in Slate. Yes, the broadcaster is a mess, but wokeness isn't the issue. This is by Alicia Montgomery. I agree with Alicia that wokeness certainly is not the issue.
Woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
So I don't really know. I could give you the critique of NPR during the Iraq War and shit, because I listened to NPR at the time and I knew exactly what they were saying on NPR. I knew how their coverage was slanted towards the security state, which is like wild that they're getting accused of liberal bias, which they kind of do have. Kind of hard to be a Republican when you're educated. Unless you're into finance and shit, and you're doing it for the tax cuts. That's the one people where it's a rational thing. NPR, the great bastion of old school audio journalism, is a mess. But as someone who loves NPR, built my career there, and once aspired to stay forever, I say with sadness that it has been for a long time. This might be news to those who tune out the circular firing squad of institutional media whiners. But my former NPR colleague Yuri Berliner, one of the organization's as of now senior editors, he is no longer a senior editor. He stepped down today, I believe it was, set off a firestorm by publishing a commentary that essentially blamed wokeness.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
And Democratic partisanship for the apparent loss of confidence in the once unimpeachable institution. This morning, news broke that Yuri has been suspended by NPR for violating a policy about outside work and informed that he'd be fired for any more infractions. He's now stepped down. The essay published by Barry Weiss's Free Press blew up certain corners of X and various Facebook feeds and was gleefully lapped up by conservatives who've been fighting to defund NPR and public broadcasting for a generation. There's a long-time fear at NPR that some scandal or mess that the network had hoped to contain within its headquarters, lovingly referred to as the mothership by nippers and ex-nippers everywhere. That is a dumb fucking bougie liberal thing to call yourself. A nipper. Ooh, I hate them. Find its way to the outside world where the organization's very real, powerful enemies could I understand why conservatives hate these people. In fact, this is happening right now. Christopher Rufo, a conservative writer and fellow at the Manhattan Institute, has launched a campaign against NPR's new CEO, Catherine Maher, accusing her of liberal bias based on old tweets. Those kind of threats reinforce an in-the-trenches camaraderie at NPR. It has also been used to quash internal criticism. I guess Uri's piece proves that strategy doesn't work anymore. Uri started at NPR in 1999. I started in 1997 in the audience research department as an administrative assistant because I was what we called a backseat baby, someone who'd grown up being force-fed a steady diet of NPR from car radios and in the home by crunchy granola parents. That makes total fucking sense. I had spent the past several months before my college graduation searching the organization's rudimentary website, desperate to find anything that I was qualified to do. A year later, I maneuvered into the news division as the editorial assistant to senior correspondent Daniel Shore, and one of the Murrow boys, proteges of CBS radio legend and good night and good luck hero Edward R. Murrow. After a stint at Salon from 1999 to 2001, I landed back at NBC. I'll get to the point. So when Uri's piece started popping up on my timeline last week, it felt like hearing a loud, ugly family argument break out in the room next door. I wanted to pretend as if it wasn't happening. I wanted people to shut up. But if they were going to shout, I at least wanted them to tell the whole story. And that story is that NPR has been both a beacon of thoughtful, engaging, and fair journalism for decades, and a rickety organizational shit show for almost as long. If former CEO John Lansing, the big bad of Uri's piece, failed to fix it, or somehow made it worse, that's a failure he shared with almost every NPR leader before him. But if, as Uri charges, albeit in a negative way, Lansing genuinely managed to break the network loose from the grasp of self-righteous, white liberal identity politics, even in an imperfect way, that would surprise the hell out of me, especially given the well-reported exodus of top journalists of color and the loss of a diverse group of journalists during last year's podcast layoffs. It did take a kind of courage for Uri to publicly criticize the organization, but it also took a lot of wrong type of nerve. His argument is a demonstration. This is a lot of... Get to the point. His argument is a demonstration of contemporary journalism at its worst, in which inconvenient facts and the obvious questions were ignored, and the facts that could be shaped to serve the preferred argument were inflated in importance. That's why it was published in Barry Weiss's publication. Okay, like, I'm totally bored with her rotting. I was enthralled with it earlier. I was like, I'm gonna save that for when I'm on the stream, and like now I'm totally bored with it. Maybe I wasn't high enough earlier. I wasn't getting to the fucking what the critique of NPR was. Why was it a rickety organization? Nix, good evening. When all else fails, let's rag on Matt Walsh. That's the big problem with NPR to me is that we live in a fractured media ecosystem now. Like, why would NPR even try to appeal to anybody of a conservative base when they all have their own media? They all have, you know, your different flavors of conservatism. Your Matt Walsh's, your Steven Crowder's. He's not doing so well lately. And you got your, you know, your fucking Charlie Kirk and your Ben Shapiro. You got Jesse Waters and Tucker Carlson. All the, you know, you got all your different flavors of your conservative. You can find exactly if you wanted a little more outsider, you want some Dan Bongino or some shit like that. And then there's all these other smaller conservatives, all the ones that fucking I've feuded with and shit, like Dr. Jake Jacobs and the Don't Unfriend Me motherfucker. And I kind of wanted to do some clips in the show and like play some old school clips. The Kyle Rittenhouse interview was fucking hilarious from like the first year of the Troll Patrol. Back when nobody was watching. That's why I like playing the clips. Nobody was watching back in the day. I'm out here doing it for one or two people. Anyway, Matt Walsh, who once called me a formidable voice in the culture.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
Thank you, Matt. He's got a problem with Caitlin Clark, the basketball player. Apparently, she's going to the WNBA, and she ain't making very much money compared to the men. Seriously, I saw it. It was like a pitiful amount. It was like $70,000 a year or something. Like, holy shit! Like that's pitiful for her to be like one of the top players ever.
Okay, the talking head there can't seem to make up her mind because on one hand, she says that it's capitalism. People aren't watching or supporting the games, so the women don't get paid much. On the other hand, she says that the women are underpaid. Well, which is it? Well, if this...
Okay, by the way, apparently this year more people watched the women's NCAA tournament than the men's. So, like, women's sports is, like, on fire or some shit. I don't watch any kind of sports, so I don't pretend to know. And I'm going to rag on Matt Walsh because I don't think he watches any sports either. So he probably shouldn't pretend to know.
Needs to be explained. I will explain it. It's very much the former. In fact, WNBA players are not underpaid at all. They are, if anything, vastly overpaid. By all rights, as a simple economic matter, WNBA players should not be getting paid anything. If they're getting paid anything above zero, they are overpaid. So here are some basic facts to flesh this out. First of all,
fascist motherfucker
the
over here
has existed for nearly 30 years. It has never once turned a profit. According to WSN.com, a sports betting site, the WNBA generates about $60 million in revenue. For the record, an article in Vox claims that the revenue is in the $100, $200 million range, which I find dubious. But either way, the NBA, by contrast, brings in $10 billion of revenue with something like $3 billion in profits. So that means that the NBA generates more than 150 times the revenue of the WNBA. And if you're going with the, I think, quite generous $100 million estimate for the WNBA, then the NBA makes only 100 times that amount. So do the math here, by the way, and you'll see that pound for pound.
Oh, we love doing math.
Actually make about the same as.
And then add 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
You gotta, okay, so things like that take time. They take time to build. You gotta build the brand. Fucking NBA players weren't making that kind of money like fucking 40 years ago, 50 years ago. You're just a fucking idiot, motherfucker. As I said, like this year, am I wrong about that? I was told that more people watched the women's NCAA tournament than the men's this year. That, like, it was a really big deal because apparently, like, the South Carolina team is a legendary team, and that coach. I didn't like her because we covered the story where she was talking about like the Freedom from Religion Foundation was saying that she was indoctrinating her players and talking about praying all the time, and I didn't like that. But then that Clay Travis motherfucker, the dude from his organization, asked a question about trans athletes, and like she fucking nailed it. She stood up for trans players. So like I don't know what to think about her. She apparently has like a Rolls Royce or some shit, or Bentley or some fucking crazy ass car like that. So like probably she should get the boards pulled out on her. But she stood up for trans athletes. That's fucking cool. And then the Caitlin Clark, who Matt Walsh is talking about here, apparently like she's like the greatest women's college basketball player of all time. And the woman that she beat her points record, that woman was all salty. And she's like, we didn't have 3-pointers back in my day. I say I don't know about sports, but if there's a drama going on, I read up on it. There's been a drama going on, and I'm kind of into it.
NBA rookies, 70,000 times 150 is 10.5 million. But even then, they're still overpaid because although the WNBA generates 60 million in revenue, or even if it's 100 million, let's say, it makes no profit. These women are getting paid salaries to play for a league that economically...
There's a cut there. Also, there's too much math.
You take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third.
I haven't watched it. I'm like 3 or 4 episodes behind on SNL. I haven't had a chance to watch anything.
Economically speaking, shouldn't exist. You don't have to be a financial whiz to understand that losing money for 30 years is usually a recipe for bankruptcy. The only reason the Women's League stays open is that the NBA subsidizes it. Every year, the Men's League hands millions of dollars to the women. The men keep the Women's League.
He should remind you of the BTK killer.
Why do they do that? Well, so that everyone can feel good about the fact that a Women's League exists. You're probably familiar with those charities where you can metaphorically adopt somebody from the...
No, it's an investment in the future because, like, this crop of players going into the WNBA, because they've watched the WNBA since they were kids and they've grown up with it. Now it's popular among the kids. That's how you build a brand, Matt. They were investing in the future. Do you not fucking understand that? Now the popularity is going to go to the WNBA, and then more people are going to be watching because of the teams, fucking Caitlyn and blah blah blah. I don't even know, fucking.
Third world by sending money to a charity that supposedly then goes to that family. Well, that's basically what the NBA is to the WNBA. They have adopted it, like a third world child.
Invested.
Now, what does this mean? It means that, again, nobody watches the WNBA. The leftists on Twitter and in the media complaining about WNBA salaries have never watched a game in their lives. They've never sat down to watch a women's game on TV, much less have they purchased tickets to watch it.
I don't watch men's games, so you know.
At the arena. They'll support the league by whining on its behalf on social media, but they won't support it by actually supporting it. Last year, the WNBA had its most watched regular season in 20 years. So this was a record.
So interest is up.
Audience. And during that record season, the average audience for each game was 500,000 viewers. Now, to put that into perspective.
I know for a fact that the number 1 show on cable on Wednesday nights is AEW, and they're only getting like 600,000, 700,000. That's a pretty good fucking number. Like, TV ratings are like shit now because nobody watches fucking TV. Stupid fuck.
500,000 is about the viewership of CNN's weekly 10 p.m. show with Charles Barkley and Gayle King. And that show was just canceled after 6 months because the audience was so low that it wasn't sustainable. 500,000 for a professional sports league that airs on network television is an even more catastrophic embarrassment and would be even less sustainable if not for the fact that the
Whoa, does it air on network television or does it air on like TNT or some shit? ESPN2. Because that's not network television. That's cable. There's a big fucking difference.
NBA doesn't have to sustain itself, which is fortunate for the league because it would be out of business in a month if it did have to sustain itself.
That is a wild thing coming from Matt Walsh at the Daily. With it, like, if the Daily Wire had to sustain itself, it would be out of business in a month. Like, holy shit. Not DJ Dub. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack.
Now, Joe Biden wants these women to get their share.
Come on, man.
Well, I ask you this. What is a fair share of $0 in profit? That's a math problem so easy that even our vegetable of a president should be able to do it. The fair share, the actual fair share, is nothing.
But then you
Zero.
75% chance.
That's what you just...
33 and a third, motherfucker.
I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
They're not underpaid. They should be paid 0 is what Matt Walsh says. Fuck Matt Walsh. The only true thing he's ever said was I was a formidable voice in the culture.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
Dub may be leaving us, but we still got another story here. A pastor a pastor was kicked off stage after slamming a strip show at a Christian event. I've been waiting to do this story. This is amazing. A pastor was kicked off stage at a Christian men's conference after criticizing a sword-swallowing performance at the event and alluding to it being similar to something one might see at a strip club.
You live in sexual anarchy?
I kind of want to go to this conference. The incident occurred during the Stronger Men's Conference, which was held at the Great Southern Bank Arena in Springfield, Missouri on April 12th and 13th. Missouri. The event's social media pages describe it as passionate about helping men to become all that God has created them to be. Don't worry, there is video. Mark Driscoll was on stage when he began criticizing an earlier performance at the conference by sword swallower Alex Magala. During the performance, Magala took off his shirt, climbed a pole on stage, and swallowed a sword. I've been up since 1 o'clock this morning, Driscoll told the audience. Buddy.
I've been up since 1 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
The reason I'm hoarse is I have been praying for you, and my heart is very burdened for you.
So you're seeing the sword-swallowing performance in the inset down at the bottom. You're seeing the pastor in his speech apologizing, or no, not apologizing, I guess. This was scolding the audience for the performance that took place. He was up till 1 o'clock jagging it, waggity whack.
And I want to be very careful with this, and it's not what I want to say, but the Jezebel spirit has already been here. The Jezebel spirit opened our event. This is a rebuke and a correction of no one. This is an observation. Before the Word of God was open, there was a platform. It was a high place. On it was a pole, an asherah. The same thing that's used in the strip club for women who have the Jezebel spirit to seduce men. In front of that was a man who ripped his shirt off like a woman does in front of a pole at a strip club.
It is appalling to be a woman in this man's eyes.
That man then ascended. See, our God is not arrogant. He doesn't ascend. Our God is humble. He descends.
What?
And then he swallowed a sword.
Pretty sure ascension is like a central tenet of Christianity.
And Jesus cried, okay, Pastor John, I'll receive that. Thank you.
So he's getting kicked off stage. There's like a picture of a motorcycle, and then like Larry David walks up. What the fuck's going on?
Let me just say this. If Mark wanted to say that, he should have said it to me first. He didn't. Matthew 18. Matthew 18. If your brother offends you, go to him privately
He got Matthew 18.
There was not one word of that. He's out of line. If he wanted to say it, he could say it to me. You may not agree with me. You may not agree with him. But we are brothers in Christ, and there's a right way to handle this.
Ooh, it was just getting good. I'm still into it. I want more of it. I want more of the sword swallowing. Alex Magala. You want to watch some Alex Magala videos? That's what we should do. I feel like that's the fun thing to do here. What up, Alex? The Sword Master. Sir, there was nothing woman-like the way he removed his jacket. Oh, this is very gay. Okay, so here's the thing. Apparently it was a Christian event, apparently, but it was like a strong man conference. That's what it was about. So, like, sword swallowing was a strong man thing. I'm kind of turned on. I'm just saying. I would totally fuck that guy. Or be fucked by him. Either way. Kind of feel like he's a bottom, though. Okay, I kind of lost my boner. Clinically says no doubt he's a bottom. I'm into it. Hey, you want to get me to go to a Christian event? I'd watch that. Ooh, do you know who would like this? Sparkles. Woo! Don't do that shit. I mean, it's a magic act, right? Or this is like a circus sideshow thing. I guess it's not right to call it that anymore, but it's a freak show.
Leadership of the church attempting to create doubt and friction between brothers, attempting to sow discord between a father and a son.
So apparently this is the like dude that put on the event. The other dude's like a really big mega preacher or whatever. I don't think I can watch 5 whole minutes of this. I don't know. He's outlined the lies
It seems demonic to me. And honestly, it makes me very, very concerned for Mark. At that point, we moved to step 2 in the Matthew 18 process.
You got Matthew 18.
But if he will not listen, take 1 or 2 others along, so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Within an hour, I called Dr. Jimmy Evans, the founder of Marriage Today, the Tipping Point podcast, and the founder and president of XO Marriage. Jimmy Evans,
sounds like a douche.
I know him, is one of the finest Christian leaders in the United States of America today.
I said he sounds like a douche.
Jimmy had at one time served as a spiritual advisor to Mark. Those I sought counsel from said that Jimmy was very likely the only spiritual advisor that Mark would listen to. Dr. Jimmy Evans called Mark on Monday afternoon, and Mark returned his call on Monday evening. Dr. Evans repeatedly told Mark Driscoll that he needed to repent.
Repent.
Each time, all that Mark would say is that Jimmy was a spiritual father to him and a friend that he loved. But Mark was unwilling to repent and still
repent.
As well, Dr. Jimmy Evans informed Mark that what he was doing and not stopping these things regarding Alex past and James River Church was resulting in death threats and horrible abuse to our James River Church.
Now, just to be clear, I do believe I saw that dude was a stripper. Now, he was not stripping what we just watched. That was, you know, a performance. And it was very cool. I enjoyed it. But, like, he was indeed a stripper in the past, as I understand it.
Receptionist. So much so.
And nothing wrong with that. Totally into it. Would watch him strip.
We shut down our switchboard. And
would totally watch him strip because he's kind of sexy.
Put all calls to voicemail. Our receptionists were frightened and were in tears. Yesterday,
if he'd wear a wig, oh my God. Oof.
Where the Assemblies of God General Superintendent, Doug Clay, was also preaching. Following our preaching, he asked to visit with me and said that the national headquarters of the Assemblies of God.
I don't even understand. Like, they're gonna, like, there's so much, like, fucking drama. I ain't done with this yet. I want to watch more of the dude fucking swallowing swords. Oh, it's all just all about this. See, there's So, how dirt poor bad boy from a sleepy Moldovan town became a seedy Vegas stripper before wowing millions as BGT's daredevil sword swallower. He was on Britain's Got Talent, apparently. He led a double life as a male stripper, which nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, I feel like, would you guys join on, like, a different platform? We'll all just edge together. We did that one night. We didn't go to a different platform. Nobody had their dick out. Pretty sure a couple people had their dick in their hand, though. It was like a real late night. Curiouser was in here. She's being all fucking sensual and shit. While she was at work. It was weird. Well, he's not performing on the family-friendly talent show. The 26-year-old Soviet-born performer leads a more X-rated lifestyle, wooing all-female audiences and gay nightclubbers. Which, you know, come the fuck on. And, like, abs aren't really a thing I'm into, but, like, that dude's hot. God damn. Now the swords, well, I get concerned. That's where I lost my boner. You put the sword down your throat, like I'm like, yeah, you're gonna hurt yourself. No, stop. Let me love on you. Ooh. What is that face that Simon Cowell is making? Like, did he advance? Everyone seems shocked. Advertisement my ass. I don't know what fucking browser I'm on. I get an advertisement.
It is very dangerous. Everything has to be perfect. The small mistake will cost me my life.
You goddamn right.
Okay, Alex, I don't think I want to ask you what it is, but is it dangerous?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how dangerous?
I'm pretty much risking my life in front of you guys.
All right, Alex, well,
8,
best of luck.
9.
Thank you very much.
Whoa. I didn't get, whoa, where's my, I didn't get to see it. A little cute baby picture of him. That's his mom. Well. Oh my God. Yeah, get a Daily Mail ad blocker or some shit. Maybe I did switch browsers. The music is horrible. Not only was I trying to avoid the copyright of the show, I'm totally saving you guys trouble, because it is insane. Stop doing that shit. Oh no, no. I've got a morbid curiosity though. Oh, I couldn't even make it go on the I couldn't make the compressor hit. Couldn't do it loud enough. He's cute. If they were looking at me across the bar, holy shit. Yep, I'm in. Do whatever. I'm not submissive usually, but like you guys, okay, whatever you want to do to me. You got it. Yep, you two, both of you two. The offer also goes for the two of you. Is that Rose McGowan? It does not say it's Rose McGowan. God damn, look at those eyes. Holy shit. Whew. Can I show that on the stream? I can, can't I? The muscles don't so much impress me. I'm not a muscle guy. I'm a Twinkie guy. I like, goddamn. Wee. Is this like a Darby Allin ripoff? Is that what we got going on here? Holy shit. Whatever's going on there, I'm into it. Yep. He does those shit too. Oh, okay. I've seen those. Oh, he likes cats. Clinically just said, yeah. That's a cool fucking picture. Okay, this is the men's conference performance. Which is just the same one we watched earlier, right? Like, we watched this routine already. Now, I guess the question is he born again? Is that why he's at the Christian conference? Is that why the pastor was so adamant about taking up for him? Like, it's lies you're spreading about him. Because, like, apparently he was a sex worker. That is nothing to be ashamed of, you goddamn morons. I'm just concerned for his. I don't want to, like, you'll cut his insides. Does that cause you to get a sore throat? What in the fuck? Did you properly sterilize your sword before you stuck it down your gullet? How does somebody decide that this is what they want to do with their life? How do you come up with this routine? The swords, well, like, how do you decide to climb to the top of a pole? Did you measure it out? Do you know how, like, or is it just an instinct? Like the American Horror Story? That was one of the last seasons I watched. Is there another show about a freak show? Justin could be right on that. There could be a little trickery going on here. I don't know, but I don't know how they do their tricks. Yes, please, Venus. I might indeed watch something like that. I'm fascinated. But did he measure, like, how far he's got to go? Or is he doing it completely on instinct? Oh my God! Oh my God, that was closer than the other time we watched it. So there you have it. That's what got all the Christians in a tizzy at the men's conference. Everybody seemed to like the show until the pastor got up and, like, told everybody they should be ashamed. The Jezebel spirit. What, like, you watch that dude do that show and you think Jezebel spirit. Like, how do you come to that conclusion? Alright, I got something really special for you, okay? I got something very special for you coming up on Saturday. It is the Troll Patrol 4th 20 Anniversary Spectacular. If you didn't see the meme earlier, man, put them greens in her ass and let's go. I got places to be. Come this Sunday, or I mean Saturday. Not Sunday, Saturday. It's the Troll Patrol 4th 20 Anniversary Spectacular. Oh, I've already got all kinds of news stories. You're gonna love them. Well laid out show. I put a lot of effort into it. We got a lot of fun shit to watch. We're doing fun news stories. Then we got Sparkles is gonna come on. She's going to give a eulogy for OJ right after we listen to Alan Dershowitz explain why he was framed. She's gonna read a bedtime story for you guys at the end of the show. You're gonna get a bedtime story from Sparkles. I'm always okay. So I told my buddy, like, you know, on the one hand, I'm very much looking forward to it. I get really excited for the big episodes of the Troll Patrol, but also, like, I'm always spent. I always smoke so much. I get fucking stupid. And, like, it's a long time to be streaming. Because we go 420 all across the fucking coast. We're going to be out in the islands in the Pacific by the time we wrap it up. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. This is the first time it's ever happened on a Saturday. It's never been a Saturday before. Special Saturday Troll Patrol 420 Anniversary Spectacular 420. We're going to start at 4 o'clock so we can get nice and toasty for 420, the very first one on the East Coast. All kinds of fun activities planned. Now I've got something really special for you tonight. I don't even know how to say the name of this thing. It is a Fauna Loca. A Fauna Loca pup. A rare Fauna Loca pup. Native to Madagascar, born at the Nashville Zoo. This is a Fauna Loca pup. It's shivering. There's no audio. I wish we could hear his little chirping. Holy shit, is that cute. A Fauna Loca pup from Madagascar. I've never heard of one of these little things. Apparently it is rare. Oh, I wish we had audio. It made a little chirp. Yeah, I want to know what it said. It's so cute. I've never seen Madagascar. I know a lot of the Disney Pixar shit from like Kingdom Hearts. That's the only reference to them I know. Because I'm an RPG motherfucker. I'm kind of a Squaresoft fanboy. I couldn't tell you what a lemur looks like. I don't know what this looks like a little foxy thing. We get a description. It only weighed 1/4 pound. The tiny male pup, born at the Nashville Zoo on March 10th, is being hand-reared by veterinarian staff. I still said it wrong. He's now the zoo's 5th spotted Fauna Loca. Fauna Loca are nocturnal animals native to Madagascar and live in the lowland and rainforest area. Simba, good evening! Conservationists said they're vulnerable in large part because of habitat destruction. The species diet includes small mammals, reptiles, aquatic animals, bird eggs, and insects. What in the fuck do these things grow up to be? Oh, well, huh. That is what an adult one looks like. About 5 pounds? Almost beaver looking. They look pretty cute, actually. I thought it was kind of odd looking at first, but I think I'm into it now. It's an otter cat. It's an otter cat, yeah. I'd totally pet it. If it let me. It also might tear me up. I could tell, okay, like that one's probably fat, right? It's probably in captivity. That's why they were able to get the good picture of it, maybe. So it's probably not indicative of it. Probably 5 pounds, like on average, would sound right. Also, perspective. We don't know how big that rock is. This dude may be 8 to 10 pounds every bit. Because, yeah, he kind of looks like a fat cat. I don't know, fucking Maynard's like 20 pounds. I've got fat cats. I don't know. I don't know what cats weigh. Cats supposed to weigh as much as they want to weigh, I think. This one only weighed 1/4 pound. It'll look fluffy, but it could, like, I don't know what all was back there. But also, yeah, Fluffy could weigh a lot as well. Alright. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We will see you Saturday.